the program be behind schedule, and I would like, since we have already taken the welcome address from the DG KIPA, we would like to take the opening remarks from the PEBEC official. And this is an opening remark from the Director General Presidential Enabling Business Environment, who is unavoidably absent due to her prior commitments, but she has sent a short video to give to the officials for the purpose of our opening remarks. Please, over to you, please.
Your Excellencies, distinguished cabinet members, esteemed partners, captains of industries, ladies and gentlemen, I am delighted to welcome you to the Presidential Enabling Business Environment Council PEBEC's nationwide tour, an important milestone in our ongoing commitment to improving Nigeria's business environment across all 36 states and the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja. This tour is a central pillar of the State Action for Business Environment Reform SAVER program, a transformative initiative co-designed with the World Bank to support and incentivize state-level reforms. The SAVER program aligns subnational effort with our national vision for ease of doing business in Nigeria, making Nigeria easier, transparent, and more profitable for businesses to thrive. As we journey across the country, our technical workshops aim to build capacity amongst Your Excellencies, distinguished cabinet members, esteemed partners, captains of industries, ladies and gentlemen, I am delighted to welcome you to the Presidential Enabling Business Environment Council PEBEC's nationwide tour, an important milestone in our ongoing commitment to improving Nigeria's business environment across all 36 states and the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja. This tour is a central pillar of the State Action for Business Environment Reform SAVER program, a transformative initiative co-designed with the World Bank to support and incentivize state-level reforms. The SAVER program aligns subnational effort with our national vision for ease of doing business in Nigeria, making Nigeria easier, transparent, and more profitable for businesses to thrive. As we journey across the country, our technical workshops aim to build capacity amongst public sector stakeholders, ensuring that reforms are not only designed but also implemented effectively at the state level. Our private sector engagements, equally important, provide a platform to listen to the voices of Nigerian businesses and the true drivers of our economic growth, job creation, and innovation. The nationwide tour reflects PEBEC's enduring belief that reform is not a federal effort alone. States are the engine of local economic development, and their policies, infrastructure, and service delivery directly impacts the ease of doing business in every community. We're here to foster deeper collaboration, build trust, shape practical solutions that will unlock the full potential of every state in Nigeria. I thank our partners, including the World Bank, the Nigerian Governors Forum, the Federal Ministry of Finance, the Debt Management Office, and other state government agencies and the private sector for your unwavering commitment to helping us achieve this goal. Together, let's build a business environment that works for local businesses, entrepreneurs, multinationals, and foreign direct investors. A future full of prosperity for all Nigerians. Thank you all very much, and I look forward to the progress this engagement will inspire across our great nation, Nigeria. God bless the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Thank you.
Thank you. That was the DG, Presidential Enabling Business Environment Council, in person of Princess Zara Mustafa Audu, an indefatigable leader that is leading the teaming youths who are so much enthusiastic about the ease of doing business in Nigeria. Before we delve into the technical session, I would like to welcome the team lead of the Presidential Urban Business Environment Council, in person of Dr. Bello Adewale, to give us some few remarks before we delve into the technical session. Over to you, sir, please. Please give him a round of applause, please. In fact, it might interest you to know that he came in this morning because of this program, and that's how to show how passionate and commitment he is to this work. Welcome, sir.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Permit me to stand on the robustly established protocol by Alhaji Jikamshi. I really appreciate sir for welcoming us to Katsina State. Firstly and most importantly, I'm happy to be here because my dear wife is from Katsina State. So even though I am from the south, I have chosen a beautiful bride from Katsina State, alhamdulillah. And interestingly as well, I'm happy to be here on behalf of the Office of the Vice President at the Presidential Enabling Business Environment Council. Katsina State has been home for us in times past, and I think even currently we are appreciative of the delegation that are here with us today. We look forward to having a fruitful engagement. Based off the message of our DG, we are here to firstly look at some of the gaps that we have from the various, DLIs that is under PEBEX purview. And as Alhaji Jikamshi has said earlier, one of them is DLI 4, which is around investment promotion. DLI 5, which is around transparencies of fees and procedure. The other is DLI 6, which is around increased transparency around fees and levies on interstate trade. And the last one, which is DLI 8, is importantly around small claims court and management. So we are here to look at those various gaps. So we have tried to condense what is required for the year 3 in a video, maybe like about 20 minutes. Let's try to look at it, pay some attention to it, after which we will now go specifically into the gaps that we identify in year 2 for Katsina State. While we believe Katsina State has made a lot of efforts, we have also identified some gaps. Those gaps necessarily does not mean that you have not done some of those work, but it could mean that you have not published them where they are supposed to be. So we are not here to say, look, you have not done it. You are here to say, we cannot see this. Maybe you have done it, please put it here. So it's an engagement that will make as collaborative as possible, as forward-looking as possible, and then we'll begin to think of how we can improve on year 3. And it is good because you are now in like the 7th month, which means that there's lots much more we can achieve with the rest of the month. And just to further reiterate, this engagement is not the end of the engagement that we are going to be having. We are here now to have a closer touch. We are going to be having some more check-ins, maybe monthly, weekly, bi-weekly, on our dedicated, platforms to engage on the issues that we are going to be addressing today, to see how they can be improved, so that inshallah, by the end of the year, Katsina State is going to be standing tall across all the compliance issues that will have been identified. So once again, thank you so much, distinguished guests, for being here. Thank you so much, Alhaji Jikamshi, for hosting us. I want to appreciate the government very, very specially, and we look forward to a more fruitful deliberation. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Bello Adewale, for that remarks. Please proceed to play the video.
State Action on Business Enabling Reforms, SABRE. The State Action on Business Enabling Reforms, SABRE, is a $750 million performance-based program jointly implemented by the Federal Ministry of Finance, Home Finance Department, the Presidential Enabling Business Environment Council, PEBEC, the Debt Management Office, DMO, and the Nigeria Governors Forum, NGF. Supported by financing from the World Bank, the program is designed to deepen business enabling reforms across Nigeria's 36 states and the Federal Capital Territory. At the heart of the SABRE program is the requirement, an eligibility criteria, for each state to develop and implement a business enabling reform action plan, BIRAP. The BIRAP outlines the specific reform initiatives a state intends to pursue, breaking them into actionable steps and key targets. The reform areas typically cut across land administration, tax administration, regulatory frameworks, public-private partnerships, and investment policies, with the overarching goal of removing barriers to doing business and stimulating economic activity at the subnational level. The BIRAP development process is deliberate and consultative. It begins with the establishment of a robust institutional framework, most notably, the creation or revitalization of the State Ease of Doing Business (EODB) Council. This council serves as the anchor body responsible for the planning, coordination, and oversight of reform implementation. Its composition should reflect a cross-section of relevant MDAs and key private sector representatives to ensure inclusivity and sustainability of the reforms. Once the council is in place, the state is expected to work with MDAs to identify, prioritize, and scope reform initiatives, considering factors such as impact, ease of implementation, resource requirements, and timelines. These proposed actions are then refined and validated through consultations with the private sector, ensuring that reforms respond to real business challenges on the ground. Consultations should be well structured, with clear objectives, and may take the form of roundtables, public hearings, or focus group discussions. The BIRAPs, at a minimum, must include list of contributing entities, summary of private sector consultations, reform objective and defined actions, timelines, list of responsible entities for the actions, targets, quantifiable impact of reform actions to the private sector. After the action plan is finalized, states must establish a clear implementation and dissemination strategy. Implementation requires coordinated action among MDAs, political buy-in, and regular tracking. Dissemination involves creating public awareness around the approved BIRAP through various communication channels, radio, television, community outreach, digital platforms, and stakeholder engagement forums. Crucially, the BIRAP must be published on the state's official website, clearly titled and placed in a relevant section with time-stamped evidence to ensure verifiability. This transparency is a key SABR requirement and supports public accountability. In addition to preparing their 2026 BIRAP, states are required to submit a 2024 BIRAP progress report. This report provides an honest and comprehensive assessment of the progress made in implementing the reforms outlined in the 2020 Executive Council presentation. Once approved by the State Executive Council, the progress report must be published on the official state website, again with time-stamped evidence to satisfy SABR publication requirements. Looking ahead, each state is expected to develop and share its 2026 BIRAP with the PEBEC Secretariat for review. Upon EXCO approval, the final document should be uploaded to the official state website no later than December 31, 2025. These steps are not merely bureaucratic exercises. They are fundamental to unlocking SABR disbursements and, more importantly, creating an enabling environment that attracts investment, drives innovation, and supports the growth of micro, small, and medium enterprises, MSMEs, across Nigeria. Disbursement Linked Indicator 4, Improved Investment Environment. Disbursement Linked Indicator 4, DLI-4, focuses on improving the investment environment in your state, building on the achievements of the state from the previous years of the program. For state investment promotion agencies, this is your roadmap to achieving the Year 3 disbursement-linked results under the SABR program. To earn disbursements for Year 3, states must complete 3 key deliverables before December 31, 2025. 1. Publish an inventory of investment incentives on your state official website before December 31, 2025. This inventory is a comprehensive list of all investment incentives both from the state and federal levels available to investors in your state and the number of entities receiving state investment incentives in 2024. The inventory must include the legal reference instrument, that is the legal basis for each incentive, the applicable sectors and eligible firms, description of the actual benefit to investors, like tax breaks, waivers, or free land allocation, the duration of the incentive, the awarding and implementing agency, and most importantly, the number of entities that received each incentive in 2024. Make sure this inventory is clearly published on your official state website on or before December 31, 2025. 2. Adoption of an investor aftercare and retention program. Each state investment promotion agency must develop an effective aftercare and retention strategy that helps keep the investors you've already attracted. Your adopted aftercare and retention strategy program must explain how you prioritize investors for support, based on size, sector, or other strategic parameters. What services the IPA will offer, like help with permits, linkages, and advocacy. And how you track your performance, including the number of issues raised, resolved, and pending. 3. Show that your investment promotion agency actively supported announced investments. What counts as an announced investment? Investments publicly disclosed between January 1 and December 31, 2025, through media, websites, press releases, etc. However, you must show that your investment promotion agency helped make the investment happen. You must be able to provide evidence like meeting notes, permit facilitation, email exchanges, guidance or referrals. The state IPA's investor tracking system, which should track project details, investment values, contacts, and the kind of support offered, would be helpful in evidencing support provided to announced investments. Disbursement Link Indicator 5, Increasing Transparency of Official Fees and Procedures. DLI 5 focuses on increasing transparency of official fees and procedures across all 36 states and the FCT. Let's walk through the Year 3 deliverables, critical compliance expectations, and key success factors to help your state achieve results and access funding. DLI 5 Year 3 focuses on 3 key deliverables: 1. Publishing fees, procedures, and service timelines for 5 key business enabling environment MDAs on the official state website. 2. Operationalizing a grievance redress mechanism, GRM, in at least 2 key MDAs, with at least 75% of complaints addressed within the agreed service level agreements. 3. Monthly publication of SLA compliance on the state's website to drive accountability and performance. Deliverable 1. Transparency on fees and procedures and timelines. States must publish on their official websites a comprehensive, step-by-step procedures of all including required documentation, costs and payment instructions, service timelines, legal references and applicable SLAs, contact information for the MDA. Each regulatory process must be easy to find and properly titled, well-structured, complete, and easy to navigate. Remember, if the independent verification agent cannot verify the date or find the content easily, it will be marked as unmet. Deliverable 2, Functional Grievance Redress Mechanism. States are expected to put in place systems that allow businesses and citizens to raise complaints through different platforms, physical offices, SMS, phone lines, or online platforms. An effective GRM must include a clear complaint handling process, a register or tracker for logging complaints and responses, regular reporting, at least quarterly, by the MDA managing the GRM. Grievances should be addressed promptly, with at least 75% closed within the timeframe stated in your SLA. Deliverable 3, SLA compliance publication. The third deliverable is about publishing SLA compliance data monthly. This means at the beginning of a new month, the 5 BEE MDAs must publish a performance report on the previous month showing how well they are meeting their promised SLAs. Why does this matter? It increases public accountability, improves citizen trust, helps leadership identify gaps and act swiftly, and motivates MDAs to continuously improve. States should also timestamp their publications and notify the IVA with links to the published evidence. The PEBEC Secretariat will continue to provide guidance notes, templates, and technical support to help you meet these requirements. Let's work together to build a transparent, efficient, and inclusive business environment across Nigeria. Disbursement Linked Indicator 6. DLI 6, State Implementation Guide for Year 3, 2025 increased transparency of fees and levies for interstate trade and increased exporter certification. This implementation guide outlines the compliance requirements for states under DLI 6 of the SABRE program for Year 3, January-December 2025, aimed at increasing transparency in trade-related fees and enhancing support for exporters. Publication of consolidated trade-related fees. States must publish a single, downloadable schedule of all fees and levies applicable to interstate trade, regardless of collecting agency, on their official website. The document must include the legal basis for each fee, such as laws, codes, or official notifications. It must also provide estimation methods for any variable charges and hyperlinks to the enabling legislation, even if hosted on another government platform. GRM reporting and functionality. Each state must operate a functional grievance redress mechanism, GRM, that includes a reachable phone number with call and SMS functionality, a documented complaint resolution process, and a tracking log of complaints. To support transparency and accountability, states are expected to publicize the GRM in visible trade locations such as parks, loading bays, and border areas, and must train relevant officials and collaborate with private sector actors to promote its use. Critically, states must also publish a detailed annual report of all complaints received and addressed under the GRM system. This report must include the details of each complaint, the date it was received, the specific action taken, the date it was addressed, and the resolution date. This publication is considered a key part of the state's compliance and must be hosted on the official website. It also forms an integral component of the State Service Level Agreement, SLA, framework. An SLA must be developed jointly by the Ministry of Trade or Commerce, the State Internal Revenue Service, IRS, and the Ministry of Justice. The SLA should specify the time frames for acknowledging complaints, investigating them, and resolving them. To demonstrate compliance, states must present dated SLA documents, complaint logs showing date stamps, and aggregated resolution data that clearly show that at least 75% of all complaints were resolved within the SLA-defined timelines. All supporting documents, including the SLA and evidence of complaint resolution, must be published on the state's official website. Removal of haulage fees. States are also required to eliminate haulage fees for interstate trade by either amending their Consolidated Revenue Code or issuing an executive order from the governor. Compliance includes the official publication of the revised legal instrument and a current schedule of fees that clearly shows zero haulage charges. Only those documents published on the official website will be deemed valid. Increased exporter certification. To support export growth and certification, states must operationalize and fund their State Committee on Export Promotion, SCEP. This includes ensuring that a dedicated SCEP budget line is reflected in a state's approved 2024 and 2025 budget, publishing a comprehensive export strategy that highlights priority sectors, product mapping, market linkage initiatives, export-related capacity building, and interagency coordination mechanisms. States must also provide evidence of private sector engagement through meeting minutes and documented follow-up actions. The number of export-certified firms used to measure state performance will only count firms whose administrative offices are located within the state's jurisdiction. PEBEC support and technical assistance. PEBEC is actively supporting states with standardized templates, on-ground technical assistance, and a just-in-time advisory system for state-specific technical guidance. Additionally, a monthly check-in reporting framework is being launched to help states track their implementation progress, resolve issues early, and stay aligned with program requirements. Disbursement Linked Indicator 8, Quick Determination of Commercial Dispute through Small Claims Court. DLI 8 is achieved through Small Claims Court, SCC. SCC is a court that has power to entertain monetary matters of not more than 10 million naira. Cases must be determined within 60 days. It is regulated by practice directions which guides the court from filing to disposition of the matter. It has timelines for key courts events, provides for pretrial conference/preliminary hearing, alternative dispute resolution, and provides the legal basis for the Small Claims Court Performance Reports. Small Claims Court Performance Report is a report generated and submitted by the magistrates monthly. The report is expected to be made available to the public on the state judiciary's website. There are 2 reports: 1, time to disposition report to be submitted monthly by the magistrate, and 2, execution report to be submitted monthly by the sheriff. The report allows for only 1 magistrate and 1 month, therefore, a state cannot combine reports from 2 courts or 2 months into a single template. This also applies to execution indicator. Both reports must be signed, dated, and approved by the magistrate or sheriff as applicable. Time to disposition report must contain suit number, names of parties, date of filing, date of assignment, date of service, date of commencement of hearing, number of adjournments, date of judgment, decision, judgment/struck out, stage of pending claims, duration from filing till judgment, number of pending cases for the month, number of disposed cases for the month, name of magistrate, signature and date. Execution report must contain suit number, names of parties, date of judgment, date of execution, duration from judgment to execution, status of judgment not executed, whether on appeal, name of sheriff, signature and date. If the magistrate or the sheriff is unable to sign the report, he can use certificate of authentication to validate the reports. The certificate can validate more than 1 report. DLR 8.1 Year 1. January 1st, 2023 to December 31st, 2023. Judicial Committee established by the Chief Judge of the State Judiciary, and published on State Judiciary website, Practice Directions of the Small Claims Courts, and State established and operated at least 2 small claims courts having tried at least 1 case each. DLR 8.2 Year 2. January 1st, 2024 to December 31st, 2024. Monthly performance reports for small claims courts for 2023, from the inception of the courts to December 2023, to be made available to the public on the State Judiciary's website by December 31st, 2024, and 50% of cases disposed within 60 days, as recorded by the time to disposition report, and 50% of judgments executed within 30 days, as recorded by the execution reports. DLR 8.3 Year 3. January 1st, 2025 to December 31st, 2025. Monthly performance reports for small claims courts for 2024, from January to December 2024, to be made available to the public on the State Judiciary's website by March 31st, 2025, and 75% of cases disposed within 60 days, as recorded by the time to disposition report, and 75% of judgments executed within 30 days, as recorded by the execution reports. State must upload reports from January to December for at least 2 newly established SCC. However, if a state uploads for only 10 months, it must provide evidence of the annual leave approval for the affected magistrate. Challenges of achieving disbursement-linked results, DLRs. Multiple judiciary websites. Inaccessible website. Mislabeled reports. Incomplete performance reports. Lack of execution report upload. Non-compliance with the minimum requirements for reporting template. States copying from other states without consulting PEBEC Secretariat. Most of the attendees of our technical sessions do not align perfectly with DLI 8. Let's work together to deliver on DLI 8 for quicker access to justice for commercial disputes. Thank you for watching. This message is brought to you by the President.
Thank you. Thank you for taking your time to patiently watch the 20-minute video on the eligibility criteria and the DLIs handled by the PEBEC. So now it is time to call upon my colleagues to commence the real technical session by amplifying on the salient features that have to do with each and every DLI. We'll commence with, we are not going to take them seriatim, but we'll commence with DLI 5 and 6. Once again, I would like to call upon the team lead Dr. Bello Adiwali, to take the lead on the technical session. Please give a round of applause. What I'm going to assure you is that he is a person that likes sharing knowledge, and I'm very sure that you have a very exciting session with him. Please, over to you.
Thank you. Yeah, once again, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Thanks for firstly listening to the video, which is about 20 minutes, and based off some unknown philosopher, they believe the attention span of a man, especially because of plenty responsibilities, the attention span of a man is around 7 minutes to concentrate on something. So if you are able to watch the video for about 20 minutes, it means that we have shown some level of dedication here. So I don't know, sir, Alhaji Jikamshi, sir, I don't know if the focal persons in charge of DLI 5 and 6 are here. Okay. So I don't know. Can I, maybe by raise of hand, so that I can... DLI 5 and 6. Okay. 2 of you for 5 and 6. Okay. So that I'll just face here a little. Then I can tune here a lot. So for DLI 6, the key thing is around transparency of fees and levies around interstate trade and levies, and as well increased export certification, which means that there should be some form of clarity around how much, for instance, a trucker will pay. If it's going to go through Katsina to Kano, they should be able to know how much they are going to pay whenever they are going through Katsina without having to talk to anyone. And the easiest way that can be done is to ensure that all related fees around interstate trade are consolidated in one document. And from what I have, I know for sure that Katsina State has already met that criteria in terms of consolidating fees. So I know for sure we do not have a problem in areas of fees consolidation, because we have actually looked on your website and we have seen that. However, there's also a component of setting up a GRM for issues around interstate trade and levies. So, please, can you shift a little so I can face my organs? So, sir, I don't know. Is there a dedicated DRM now? Because from what we have, we know there's general one. Is there a dedicated one for DLI 6 especially now? For DLI 6? Okay, so let me break it down a little. The GRM is to ensure that people can make a call, or they can send a text message, or online, they can go online and fill a form to say, now I'm somewhere around Mani, and there are some boys on this street that put something on the road, they want to collect money from me. And I check your website, these fees they're asking me to pay is not there. A platform that can get that feedback and help them address the problem. Do we have that currently? Maybe with the Ministry of Commerce or IRS or... So, the key thing is, Alhaji Jikamshi, sir, under your permission, I believe this is existing, but I think this needs to... Sir? Okay, you missed in 2023. Okay, they have passed. Good. So I agree that they have passed, but I'm trying to build the background now. The background is that when those calls come in, when you have those calls, it is expected that those calls are recorded somewhere, either in a logbook, either in an Excel sheet, either in a Google form. So in year 2, we were looking on the website for the publication of all of those reports to say, in this year, we have received, let's say, 100 reports across Katsina State on issues of interstate trades and levies. So ideally, there should be a publication of that nature. While I agree that maybe we have already passed, but from our own hand, looking at it at the back end, we were not able to see it from our own side. And that is not to say you do not have it. Just as I said before, it could mean that we did not see. So if you have it and we did not see, it means that the IVA might also not be able to see. And if the IVA is also not able to see, it means that even the trader that wants to complain would not have so much confidence to complain because he cannot see them. So, just to take note, we need to ensure that this is done. And now, on service level agreement, ideally, because you have already passed in year one, the service level agreement must have been established. That is, if a complaint comes, we are expected to resolve that complaint or address it within 24 hours. We are expected to resolve or get back to the owner in, let's say, another 3 days. And we are expected to resolve the problem in 5 days. So what the 50% addressing of the GRM in year 2 is saying that we should ideally say from the 100 reports that we received, at least 50 of those reports were resolved within the time that we promised we were going to resolve. Not all. 50. That is year 2. Now, if we move to year 3, on this same complaint, we believe that those complaints are also expected to be published. So to make it easy, you can choose to publish them quarterly. So which means that by July now, you should have published at least 2 traders' complaints to say in Katsina, using this dedicated GRM, we have addressed 200 or 300 or 400 or 500, whatever the number of complaints that are coming from interstate trades and levies. We have received this number. And some of the templates, which I believe you might already have, we are also able to share with you. I'm happy to get your phone numbers at the end of this engagement. I'm happy to have follow-up engagement, with only you, since like you are the focal persons. I'm happy to have that one-on-one engagement to see how we can further improve what we already have. Because the essence of it itself is also not to tick the box, but to ensure that much more further, the reform itself is deepened into how businesses are run. So we believe this year, we should have at least published also the reports of the complaints, at least twice now. Just so that, by the time we get to November and December, we've published enough that is even, adequate for us to be in compliance. So even from November, you know that here we are already in compliance on this issue of GRM. Then also, in year 2, it was 50% of the issue that is expected to have been resolved within the time you promise. In year 3, that number has increased to 75%. So that is what is expected for us this year. Which means that this year, if you receive 100 complaints on interstate trades and levies, at least 75 of those complaints are resolved within the time you promised to resolve them. So, the way the IVAs will verify is only what you have published. And we know for sure some of this information would be in the logbooks, because there's a chance somebody is receiving the calls or someone is receiving the text messages and they are writing it down maybe in a logbook sitting down in the ministry. What we are saying is, even if it's the logbook you want to update, put it online. Even if you are going to be transferring it into Excel form, put it online. But some of the best practices around that is to avoid putting the phone numbers of the complainants online, so that they don't become, subject of bullying or attacks or any kind of witch hunting whatsoever. So you can code even their names. Maybe you can use first name and then maybe give them some form of number. Maybe Abdullahi 0345, such that you can be able to track that response without giving out the entire information of the complainant. Furthermore, we believe that the consolidation of interstate fees might have been changed by the state, because of course you are expected to do that in 2023 or 2024. So if there are some changes in the fees, it is okay that those changes are uploaded, updated within the year, such that it can reflect whenever they are being checked. Then also importantly, there's need for, as part of this DLI, and not also because it is the most important component of the DLI, it's just a part of it, which means that even though you did not necessarily meet that component, it does not mean that the DLI is lost. Is the removal of haulage fees. Removal of haulage fees, which means that haulage fees are expected to be removed by two various ways. Either by the executive order by His Excellency, the Governor, or by process of passing a law through the National Assembly. And this in itself should also be published. Now, we understand very clearly that not all states have the same context. Not all states have the same capacity. While some states today have told us that they have removed, some states are saying, look, it is an important component of our internal generated revenue. That is to say, the states are looking at the costs and the benefits. If it costs more than it benefits you, ideally, in the best interest of the state is not to remove. But part of the technical support you are providing is, if this is to be removed, it is either to be removed by the governor executive order or by the process of legislation through the state assembly. Now, the second component of the LI6, which I also believe in year 2, Katsina state government has also passed very excellently, is the increment in the number of firms in the state that are obtaining export certificate from NEPC. So, this is as a result of the fact that we believe that in the beginning of this particular DLI's implementation, there's expected to have been an export strategy. Export strategy, which is showing how the state want to promote export, how the state is engaging with the private sector, how the state is sensitizing, the micro and medium scale businesses to register their business with the NEPC by virtue of funding the State Committee on Export Promotion. And of course, I think there's also expected to be at least some form of funding of the SCEP in the budget of 2024. So if it was not there, perhaps, maybe it's not in 2025, there's expected to also be perhaps maybe a supplementary budget for SCEP, which I believe it might be there, maybe we have not seen from our end. And just as I was asking, there's a chance these things are there, we have just not seen them. But the funding of SCEP would further reinforce the fact that if you are funding a committee that is in charge of export promotion, they will have some capacity to engage the private sector. They will have some capacity to engage the micro and medium and small enterprises to further encourage them to register the business. So I believe strongly, sir, whatever strategy that we have used in year 2 on export promotion, we need to double that effort in year 3. Why I'm saying we need to double that effort in year 3 is because in year 2, the expected number of increment that we are looking from the baseline was 10%. In year 3 now, it has been increased to 20%, which means whatever strategy that we have used in Katsina State that has already worked for year 2 increase in the number of export certificates registered, we need to double that effort to ensure we are able to meet that of year 3 as well. So basically, for year 3, the component of this is to say, number 1, some of the gaps that we also see from year 2 from our end is that we should have a publication of the report of complaints of traders. Just publish it. And also, sir, we are also willing to support and work together with your IT team that are doing the upload. We don't mind, supporting them and looking at what they are uploading and seeing some of the back-end workings that are there. Because there are a lot of back-end workings, especially on, time stamping, registering and all that. We can have some of those conversations to see. Because our own commitment is to ensure that you comply. our commitment is to ensure that you access the money. Because as part of PEBEX work, we believe the states are the front line of service delivery. There's no Nigeria without Katsina State. So Katsina State, if the money comes in for you, it comes in for Nigeria. So we believe that the publication must be, uploaded for this year. 75% of the complaint must have been, received and addressed within the SLA times. And this is only possible if we start tracking concurrently. If you wait till December or November before we start looking at the numbers that we have, there might be problem. So if by now, maybe we see we are only resolving 50, or we are only resolving 40, or we are only resolving 60, we will know what strategies we can put in place additionally to ensure it is improved. And there are a lot of questions around the context of the rural areas. In the rural areas, not everybody has maybe an internet phone to complain about problems, but some people can make a text message. So what it means is that the people in charge of the LI6 should try as much as possible to make all available platforms that is accessible, that is inclusive, even for people in the rural areas to make complaints. And the easiest way to do that is in your various parks, in your various bus stations, you can put some little posters and banners to say, these fees are the fees you should be able to charge. Don't pay any money to anybody using nail and rod to block the road, just to create some form of engagement, even with the organized transport association. So these are the key components of year 3. These are some of the gaps that we have in year 2. And I know for sure I've passed around some papers for questions. So I don't know, does anybody have any question for the LI6 that has been written down so that I can address them? Any question, please? Any question on the LI6? Jafar, let me read my prayer. Yes. Do we have 2 microphones?
Assalamu alaikum and good morning all. My own is I had you mention something like removal of cost, which will be done by either executive order signed by the executive governor of the state or a process through the State House of Assembly. Is it the removal of cost or what are you referring to?
All right, thank you. It's removal of haulage.
Okay.
Haulage fees.
Okay. Thank you very much. Sorry, my name is Ibrahim Lawal, Minister of Justice.
Okay, please kindly take note. Any further question? Any more questions? Are the LI5 and the LI6 focal persons? We're happy to hear those questions, though. So let's wait for Alhaji Jikamshi. I'm sure you will have some questions. Let's wait a little. Now, yes, microphone, please.
Good morning, Dr. Bello.
Good morning, sir.
I wanted to ask, because DLR 6, you see these fees issues. There are some other states in the federations that they charge trade statistics levy. Like in Katsina, we have a cross-border proximity, and so many trades is taking place. And then we don't charge anything, but when you go to Ogun State at that border with Benin, you have to pay for cross-border levies. You pay for trade statistics levy if you are crossing on trade issues. At ECOM, in Cross River, you pay the same fees, but in Katsina, we don't charge anything. We don't charge a kobo. We are just transit state. When you come, you pass to Niger Republic, and you don't, nobody will challenge you to pay a transport levy or anything levy, including even axles load certification. We don't have those facilities here in Katsina State. So nobody is charging anything. Is it only applicable to some borders or some states? Because this ease of doing business is for the entire country. How can we introduce this in Katsina State? Because we are losing a lot of money. We have about 6 border posts carrying regional trade across our state. And unfortunately, Katsina State is being, is not charging anything, so it's losing out from revenue, internally generated revenue. Thank you very much.
All right, thanks, sir. So, of course, around internally generated revenue are usually strategies of state government. Their approach that the state government believe it's in the best interest of the state to raise funds. So, in all of reforms around how revenues are to be generated, the leadership commitment, the leadership vision around it is key and is important. So, and just as you said, sir, what is applicable in Ogun State might not be applicable in Lagos, might be different in Oyo. So, all states has their various different contexts. And, you know, some fees are also like federal government fees. Some fees are not necessarily that of the state. So while maybe Ogun State might have, you know, cross-boundary fees, as you say, Katsina State might have something else that is not named that way, but it's something different. So if you say we do not have any of those fees, I know for sure we have lists that I've seen online for Katsina State of consolidated fees that are related to interstate trade. And this is what it's about. That is when goods are moving from state to state, not necessarily from country to our country now. Let's say you are moving from Katsina to Kano. You are also perhaps maybe going to Kaduna, you move to Kaduna, you go to Abuja. From those various states, as far as you are bringing minerals or stones or sand or food items, you are expected to pay certain money at certain junctions, at certain places, at certain parks. Those are the fees that we say should be transparent. What we are looking here is, we are not saying that don't charge A or don't charge B or don't charge C. That is not the context here. The context is that if you are going to charge this amount, let everybody know that this is what I'm charging. Publish it, such that you don't have somebody on the streets, maybe somewhere in Dusema, saying that this is what you are supposed to pay. And when you get to maybe Faskari, somebody else is saying this is what you are going to pay. When you get to Mani, and that's so. That way, it creates confusion for anybody that is planning to go through these routes. Because everybody will come with different fees, and they want you to pay. So we are saying let it be published. Let it, you know, have some collaboration with the transport workers, so that the truckers, they know what they are expected to pay. They know what amount they are supposed to pay. And that is why the GRM becomes important, so that whoever is being charged unfairly will be able to make calls and have them redressed. The essence is typical, such that investors do not go through unnecessary suffering just because there's no clarity on what we are supposed to pay. I think this is just about clarity and transparency. So I don't know if this is clear, sir. Thanks a lot, sir. Any further questions? All right, please. The microphone. Yes. Our most important question from the DLI. Please go ahead, sir. I think we have just a few more minutes so that we can go into DLI 5 now. Jafar, are you ready for DLI 8? Okay, 4 before. Okay, no, please, give me that.
Good morning, all. My name is Abubakar Tasiu. My question is on GRM, that's grievance redress mechanism. You have mentioned in your presentation that the complaints received are to be uploaded on the website so that it can be easily verified by the IVA. So traditionally, the way we are doing it, we have logbooks at stations where complaints were recorded. Can we be scanning those logbooks, or we should type it so that we can publish in the website?
All right, thanks for that question. So the GRM that you have, is it only the ones that are recorded at the stations, or there are also other ones that are digital, like phone calls and text messages, and like what are the various platforms that you use for the GRM?
We have phone calls, emails, and also we have Facebook platform.
So this means that some of the information you get are digital, right? So when it is digital, it is easy to extract the information and put in an Excel. And that is why we say for us, we are happy to also guide you on how this can be done much more better. So if you have it on text messages, it means that somebody will extract that text message and put in a book. If you get a call, somebody will get the transcript of that call and the complaint and put in a book. So instead of scanning the book, you can also, as they are calling, somebody is putting it on the computer in an Excel format that we can share with you, right? So they are putting it there. You don't need to wait for the complaint to be 6 months before you publish them. You can publish even bi-weekly if you want. You can publish monthly, 2 monthly, 3 monthly, such that whatever complaint that is coming, you are able to publish them. But the most important thing is, how are you able to address them? What is your SLA? Your SLA is, say, if that complaint comes within 4 days, you are resolving them. And at the end of the year, we believe that if you have 100 complaints or 1,000 complaints, 75% of them must be resolved within 4 days that you have promised the public that you are going to resolve them. So there are a lot of ways around it now in the digital, world, such that those complaints, we know, all of them will not come from Facebook. All of them will not come from email, and some of them will come from the books. Some of them will come from people walking in and complaining. It's still a GRM as well. So how do you integrate all of this in one document that you can publish for the public to see, in a way that it does not necessarily give out the information of the people that are complaining? Because if somebody, for instance, complain about people charging them at the park, and you put their name and phone number, people from the park can look for them, right? And say, so now you a big complaint. This kind of witch hunting. So I don't know if this clarifies your question. So I hope you are taking it. What's your name, sir? No. Yes.
Abubakar Tasiu. Abubakar Tasiu.
Abubakar Tasiu, sir. We'll get your phone number so that. Any question again, sir? Okay, good. So, I think moving into DLI 5, the DLI 5 component here is about transparency in fees and procedure. And I'm so happy as well that Alhaji Jikamshi had told me that there's a lot of progress that has been made here. And from what I can see, I also believe that there has been some progress that has been made. And I think in year 2 for DLI 5, some of them is that, number one, at least there should be GRM in 2 BE MDAs that has been established and that is operational. So I don't know which of the MDAs now have established this one. Can they give him the microphone?
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Sagif. We have established GRM boxes where we have placed them in some areas that where people will see, like in the state secretariat, And also in our department, BPP, we have also placed a box there so that anybody that has any complaint regarding the contract processing piece will come and put it there. So we will extract and read and make possible solutions.
All right, this is okay. And also from our end, we have also seen from our end that you also have an online one, and you also have a hotline for 2 MDAs. So maybe I should not go further because we can have further conversations to know which of those MDAs, which of those agencies or ministries or departments have, are dedicated for this DLI-5. I think Alhaji Jikamshi mentioned Ministry of Commerce. Is it Ministry of Commerce? Which of the 5 MDAs, which of the 5 departments are in charge of the DLI-5?
BPP.
BPP?
Yes, Bureau of Public Procurement.
Okay, good. So much more importantly, while I was saying that we can have a catch-up. Okay, please go ahead, please proceed.
Okay, for DLI-5, there are 5 MDS. There is BPP, Water Board, URPB, IRS, and then Commerce.
So we have BPP, Commerce, Water Board, and IRS, and the last one is?
Urban and Regional Planning.
Okay, Urban and Regional Planning,
URPB.
Thank you. So these 5, we believe at least 2 should have that GRM that is functional. So I believe IRS should have that. We have already checked. We see that box is ticked. And I know you have not gotten feedback for year 2. So we are telling you some of the potential feedbacks you might have for year 2. And one of the important again is publication of your GRM as well. That is, we believe that 50% of the grievances of those 2 key MDAs are addressed within the timeline you promised to address them. Just like the same thing we are supposed to publish for DLI-6, we are expected to publish it for DLI-5. For those, for the BPP, for the Water Board, for the Commerce, for the Internal Revenue Service, and Urban and Regional Planning, we should be able to say, in these 5 MDAs, we received this amount of complaints, right? And we promise to resolve their complaint within 5 days, because that's what I can see here, even 5 days for the timeline for Katsina State. So we are saying we are going to resolve the problem in 5 days. We have received 100 complaints. How many did we resolve in 5 days? That ought to have been published. I know you might have published it, but I can't find it online. Do you understand, sir? So if I cannot find it, it means the IBA might not also find it. And if they don't find it, I know for sure they will ask for a link from you, maybe from the focal person, to say, we are looking for this, we cannot find it. But very, very importantly, we should enable that this is as conspicuous as possible. Then also, we believe that you have published your SLA for your GRMs. We have seen that already. And the other one is to say the fees, step-by-step procedures and timelines for 2 core regulatory processes, rather. 2 core regulatory processes of the 5 MDAs. The essence of this transparency is to say, if somebody wants to go to IRS to file a tax, right, without meeting an agent or an accountant or an auditor, if they look online, they should be able to know what is the procedure to do this. What do I need to do end to end? I need to have a TIN number, or I need to register something online. I need to come with my tax clearance. I need to come with my business registration. It is clear, everything you need to come there with. And as well, you need to also be able to state the timelines for all of the process. That is, if you submit your tax clearance, it will take 2 days to go to this place. It will take 7 days before you get the tax. Such that all of these MDAs that you have selected, very importantly, BPP, Water Board, Commerce, IRS, URP, should have published all of their regulatory process, at least 2, right? And as well the timelines and the procedure for this, such that, people already know what is the procedure, what is the cost, and what is the timeline if I need to do A, B, C, D. So from what we have seen that only 3 of the MDAs have one regulatory process with procedure and timelines. Only 3, but no fees. Right? Based on the feedback I have here, only 3 has one regulatory process. But you are supposed to have 2 core regulatory processes. Right? And as well, you should be able to tell us what are the timelines and what are the fees for these 5 MDAs that you have selected, so that anybody know, if I'm going to Bureau of Public Procurement to do this is what I'm going to do, A, B, C, D, E, F. This is how long it's going to take, and this is how much I'm going to spend. I don't know if this is clear enough for you as well. So these are the key issues. If these are, worked on from year 2, if you come back to year 3 now, you realize that they are all the same thing, and by virtue of the good work that the Katsina State, people have already made, you have already, by virtue of achieving in year 2, you have already ticked the box for some of the processes in year 3 already, without even doing much, because you have already done so much in years past. But however, there's need for us to start having those grievance, those grievance reports to say we have received this amount of, complaints, and we have resolved this amount. We need to start publishing that one as well. We also need to see the step-by-step procedure for the 5 MDAs that you have mentioned for me, sir. Alhaji Abubakar. For the 5 MDAs that you have mentioned for me, we need to have their fees, at least 2 of their core regulatory process, and their timelines and their procedure. Those 5 MDAs that we have written here, they need to start publishing them for year 3 already. Because if they don't, or they have already done it, we've not seen, but I think we can sit together even after now, right? Even subsequently, we can meet online to discuss some of these issues. If you have your IT people, they can also join those calls, and we can be able to improve there. And of course, this year, we also believe that there's supposed to be some compliance report that must be published monthly by MDA for each core regulatory process. Right? So, this is how it is. Let's say IRS has 2 regulatory processes that people can go there to do, to collect tax clearance certificate, and maybe to collect their TIN number. Right? This could be 2 core regulatory processes for IRS. It might be more. I'm just giving an instance. So, and you have promised that your SLA, that is your service level agreement, is that when anybody come in to file a tax, it's going to take only 7 days. Right? So we believe that at the end of the month, at the end of, let's say, June that has finished, we need to state that in the month of June, we receive 100 applications for tax clearance certificate, and we resolved 50 within 7 days. No problem. Nobody is going to penalize you for, it's your SLA. But if you don't meet it, no problem. But the fact that you are publishing it makes it more important. That is, we have received requests for 200 tax identification numbers, and we resolved it. This is the date we received the request, and this is the day it was resolved. I don't know if this is clear, especially for the SLA, for the regulatory processes for the MDAs that are involved in this component. And then also lastly, we believe that compliance reports must be published within 3 months of the last day of that particular month. So, these compliance reports around your SLAs, which we believe you should be publishing monthly, make sure that this is July now. If you have not published for July, this is July. If you have not published for July, if you have not published for, let's say, January, it means you have already missed it. So ideally now, you should start looking out to publish those issues around the regulatory processes and your compliance within your SLAs. I don't know if this is clear. So which means that for January, you have until March to publish. For February, you have until like April to publish. For March, you have until like June to publish. So at least in July now, you should have published that of May. And what we have seen from online, we have not seen some of those publications. So please, we can, sit together to work around those various publications to ensure that you are in compliance from July. such that we don't run helter-skelter in December to start wanting to publish January, because all of these reports are going to be time-stamped, ideally, in the sense that you must stamp the day that the reports were published. So if you are publishing outside the timeline that is expected, it means you are already not meeting those important criteria. I don't know if this is clear enough. So that is that about DLI 5, and I don't know if you have any other specific question that I'm happy to answer as well. I don't know. If you have any question, otherwise we can move to DLI 4 now. Any question? Any question? No question. So, thank you so much for listening. Alhaji Jikamshi, they have no further questions for DLI 5 and 6, but I believe very strongly we will address further questions that you have. We can exchange numbers and emails and contacts now, so that, after now, we can take up some of the conversations from here. So thank you once again for listening. I will look forward to a more, robust compliance, and as well, more importantly, a more robust engagement in the next couple of months. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Bello Adiwali. I'm very sure you are too economical with your round of applause, having poured knowledge on you as far as their life 5 and 6 are concerned. I'm still not satisfied with your round of applause. Please appreciate Dr. Bello Adiwali. I'm very sure we have eaten before we came here. Thank you so much once again. I would like to invite my colleague, Mrs. Rebecca Okpegu, to also amplify on selling features on their Life 4. Welcome.
Good morning, everyone. The honorable commissioners present, the DG KIPA, esteemed guests, reform champions, I respectfully greet you all. Good morning. My name is Rebecca Bolanle Ukwevu. I handle DLI 4. DLI 4 is about improved investment environment. I can say categorically that Katsina has done well in the prior result, year 1 result, year 2 result, and here we are now in year 3. And for the fact that Katsina has done well in improving their business environment in year 1 and 2, it has made it easy to look at the deliverables for year 3. Because year 3, you are building on what you've already done. And what is needed in year 3, they are ready and available. All you need is to publish them on the website. Number 1 deliverable for year 3 is inventory of investment incentives. All the incentives that has been given to the investment, tax holidays, free land, some other incentives that has been given out to some specific investors. You need to take inventory of all of them. How many investments were given these incentives? What are the eligibility criteria? What are those parameters that qualify them to enjoy those incentives, both from the federal government and the state government? For the federal government to get that from the NIPC, and for the state, you have them from the MDAs. You have to mention the MDAs that are responsible for that. Either they are the ones giving it, or they are the body that are certifying those that are getting those incentives. What are the names of these investors? how many are they, what exactly was given to them, and what duration are they going to enjoy that incentives. All these need to be collated. That is the first deliverable in DLI 4. And once you collate all that, you send it to PEBEC for review, so that we can check and see that, yes, this is okay. No, this is what is remaining. This is what's to be done, before we send it back to you, and then you upload it. And all these incentives, we have to see that the IPA is responsible for fast-tracking those incentives, for making those incentives happen. So the bulk of the work is on the IPA. Then secondly, and sorry, on these incentives, there's no cumulative result. The prior year has its own separate. The first year has its own separate. The second year, please put that slide on. Please put on that slide, the templates. We've designed a sample template which will make it easy for this inventory of incentives, at least on the minimum. That is what is expected, so that you can qualify for the that deliverable. Now, number 2, we talk about the aftercare retention program. We know that this SABER program is for 3 years, which this is the 3rd year, between January 1st, 2025 to December 31st, 2025. Meaning by now, you ought to have started collating. By now, you could have submitted, because you are working on the result of 2024, which is readily available. You just collate and then send them, ensure that they are okay. You publish it on your website, and then you move on to other DLIs. This is July already. So please, let's see how to work on that. Then the second one is the aftercare retention program. What is the aftercare? After this 3rd year, what are the plans that the IPA have for investors? How do you follow them up in renewals, in expansion, helping to expand their businesses, helping to ensure that they have linkages to suppliers, access to credit, access to other facilities, infrastructure? How are we helping them in advocacy, in marketing, in granting information? How are we assisting these investors? How do we retain them? We are talking about sustainability and expansion at this level of aftercare. We have to build on what we already have. And the 3rd deliverable in DLI 4 is the inventory of announced investments. An investment is said to be announced when you have it published. You have it published in the media. You have it published on the IPA website, on the MDA's website, on the state official website. Whatever we are doing has to be published. And we have to see that the IPA is assisting these businesses in doing that. There must be evidence, probably through emails, and all these are time-stamped. The time this is uploaded is also going to be checked. Is it uploaded at the right time? Because if you don't upload this information at the right time, it will not be ticked as met. And an advice I would like to give on the website is, yes, we say we have it on our website. And no, at the other hand, probably the IVA is not seeing it. Independent verification agents are not seeing it. It's not easy to search through some information on websites. Already the Nigerian factor, going alone to internet that you are checking, some are already angry and already tired. And you get there, you are unable to quickly see what you are looking for. A lot of people don't have that patience. So I advise that we can have a search button on our websites, so that anybody visiting the website, you can just type, just like when you Google check, you can just type on that website whatever you are looking for, and the investor or the IVA or anybody can easily see the information, and then it will pop up. At least information relating to that area will pop up on time, and it will make it very easy. So for year 3 in DLI 4, what it is concerned is majorly inventory of your incentives, incentives given to investors, and inventory of the announced investments as facilitated by the IPAs. And in addition, aftercare retention program. We need to see it spelled out. What is that preparation? How are you going to help them to expand their businesses? How, even if they want to open new businesses, what are those provisions? What are those other incentives that has been given to them? When is it elapsing? And what is that criteria that you are using to give this investment those incentives? All this needs to be spelled out. Thank you. This is the sample templates that Pepe came up with. You can actually have it in Word, in PDF formats, in or viewable online. But on the minimum, this is what is expected for the inventory. You have the name of incentive measure, the legal reference instrument that is backing up that incentive. Then the sector, is it for all sectors? Is it for just some specific sectors? For instance, maybe somebody come in and wants to do a business of over 100 million naira, and you decide that, okay, we are giving them land. What is that legal framework that is supporting that? That means for small and medium-scale enterprises, they cannot enjoy that kind of incentive. So you have to spell it out. What is the incentive that is applicable to this area? What's the incentive that is applicable to that other area? And then the duration, of course, and the awarding and implementing agency. Which of the MDAs is handling that? And then also we have the number of recipients of those incentives. The people that enjoyed incentives in year one, that is for year one. It's not cumulative. For year two, you also put the number of those that enjoyed in year two. If somebody enjoyed in year one and is still enjoying incentives in year two, please add it up. We expect to see that this number is growing. When you see that the number is growing, that means the state is actually working. And for the third year also, you upload it. The third year is this year, 2025. You upload it. Thank you so very much. That is it for DLI 4. Any question? Yes, please.
My name is Dr. Lawal Muhammad from Federal Revenue Service. I wanted to talk about the DLI 4, especially with regard to the tax incentives. You know, when it comes to the tax incentives, we have two stakeholders in every state of the Federation. It is not only, it's not only limited to IRS, that's also Federal Revenue Service, which also has to do with the tax incentives in relation to even small businesses, talk less of the companies. So I think there's need for a serious collaboration between the IRS and the Federal Revenue Service in order to achieve, you know, a kind of, in order to achieve consistency in terms of presenting the incentives, especially related to the tax. Otherwise, when the IRS went ahead and identified its incentives without taking cognizance of the IRS, I think it's going to be a half done.
Exactly.
Do you understand?
Exactly.
So therefore, I wanted to know what the IRS is doing in terms of collaboration so that before they presenting the tax incentives, you know, companies are there. They are being taxed by a Federal Revenue Service. Even the enterprises, there's an issue of VAT, value-added tax. It cut across both companies and the enterprises. So whatever is being done without, you know, collaboration, I think is that may be going to be a kind of gap that need to be filled. I think this is my observation, and also with regard to tax incentives. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you so very much for that observation. Just like I said earlier, the incentives cover both the federal and the state, just like you have said. And for the federal, you can easily get it from NIPC. And if not, please collaborate with the office in charge. And now he has posed a question to the IRS in Katsina. Is someone here to enlighten us on that? On what is being done to ensure that they get the federal inventory of incentives for investments. Is someone, okay, you are the one that asked the question. All right, so please you who have to work on that and see that there's synergy between the state and the federal government. Thank you. Any other question? All right, so we are good with DLI 4. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Rebecca, for that session on DLI 4. So my session is on DLI 8, which has to do with quick determination of commercial disputes through small claims courts. First of all, I would like to commend the efforts of the DG. First of all, let me say the government of Katsina State, and also the Director General Katsina State Investment Promotion Agency for his commitment and dedication to driving ease of doing business, particularly through his agency. It didn't come to us as a surprise for Katsina State to be performing wonderfully well as far as the SABA program is concerned. We at PEBEC, we have a very good relationship with the Katsina State Investment Promotion Agency, and particularly the DG. We have nothing but peer admiration for his leadership commitment. I must say that, in fact, there is need for him to even be taking classes for leadership so that people will be emulating how he coordinates his things. Thank you so much once again. So on DLI 8, I would like to, because I'm projecting the performance of Katsina State as far as DLI 8 year 3 is concerned. For year 1, which has already been assessed, Katsina State was among the 4 states that passed year 1 DLI 8 without the need to provide additional evidence. Please put hands together for yourself, please. So what this portrays here is that Katsina State has 2 small claims court based on the record for year 1, and the expectation was that all the reports from January to December must be on the judicial website on or before 31st March 2025. And these reports have been provided. You can see all the reports have been provided. I highlighted Katsina among the 11 states. Some of the 11 states, the rest of 8 states, yes, 8 states were asked to provide additional evidence before they came into speed with Katsina State. So also there is a requirement for execution report, because the what the SABA verification protocol says is that for a state to achieve DLI 8 year 3, there must be uploaded on the judicial website the report of performance small claim, time to disposition report, which reflects performance of the small claims court from January 2024 to December 2024. And because the requirements are conjunctive, those reports must show that 75% of the cases were disposed of within 60 days as recorded by the time to disposition reports. And 75% of the cases must have been executed within 30 days as recorded by the execution report Katsina State has provided. However, there are some issues that I would like to draw your attention, because Court 1, that is Small Claims Court 1, entertained only 13 cases as per the record uploaded on the website. And if you go there, you'll see the records there, because I wanted to project it, but we had a little issue with the projection. So Katsina State only uploaded, Court 1 entertained only 13 cases from January to December 2024. And 9 out of 13 were disposed of within 60 days, a perfect record, and also 4 out of them were decided outside 60 days. So, which means that if you look at the percentage, we must have achieved 75% of the cases disposed of within 60 days. Then Court 2 entertained only 3 cases from January to December 2024, all within 60 days. This is a perfect record. However, the essence of this reform is not for the purpose of ticking box to achieve disbursement linked results. However, it is meant to improve the ease of doing business in Nigeria. We believe that where there are transactions between 2 parties, there might be a likelihood of disputes which will end up in court. And an investor needs certainty in whatever he does, as far as his business is concerned. He needs to know that the moment I stepped into small claims court, I know that within 60 days, I will be able to come out of this court. He cannot, be known to have entered it to stay there ad infinitum. No, he needs certainty. That's why Katsina State brought small claims court. But the level of awareness is very low, because you cannot say that a court has been there since December 2023, but these courts cumulatively only entertain 15 cases in Katsina State. 2 courts entertain 15 cases in 2024. This is the level of awareness is very alarming. So that's the reason why when we get much later with the stakeholder engagement, there is need for Katsina State to inform them that this is the court that you have, and they need to take advantage of this court. There must be awareness either through television, through radio station or social media platforms, to make the citizens of Katsina State that they have a platform that they can access to resolve their cases within a very short period of time. And it might interest you to note that these courts do not require the you don't need to engage a lawyer. A person can walk in, file his case, do his case from beginning to end without hiring the service of a legal practitioner. I once said this one was like 2 years ago. my colleagues accuse me of putting sand inside their gari, said that I want to deprive them of their own brief. No, no, no. They have the right to appear there if a litigant in Wazuko retains their services. But if a litigant decides not to retain their services, that litigant can start his case from beginning to the end. But it's very important that you must you must spread the gospel. Katsina State people are entitled to know that these courts exist, the location of the courts, and what has been put in place for them to utilize. So 15 cases between January and December is not encouraging. I'm very sure that with the level of manpower you have, and also the knowledge and commitment these magistrates have to, they know how to entertain these cases. So the only thing is, and another thing is that the court is not a Father Christmas. The court is not a charitable institution. The court will not say, come, let me litigate your case. Come, let me adjudicate your case. No. It is, the court cannot handhold the litigant to come and say, come, let me entertain your case. No. It is the state government who established the court to tell the people that we have this court and this is what the court does. And this is a time frame required by the court to determine the cases. I'm very sure that the moment you do that, there will be influx of cases, and courts will, and people will stop going, to police for recovery of, for money recovery disputes. So I also want to also commend the the leadership of the KIPA, because it is not all states. We told the states that even if a case is not entertained in a month, you should upload reports. Some of the states did not even hit to that, despite the fact that we informed them, but refused to do that. Look at it. The Wazuko Katsina State uploaded a new report. As you can see, there's a new report here. Why? Because no case was entertained. If they had skipped this one, they will have fallen under those that require additional evidence. Why? The additional evidence is that they must show, or the magistrate in question must show, that he was on leave in January. That's why he was unable to upload the reports in January. However, he wasn't on leave. He was on ground, but no case was filed. And as I said, the court is not a charitable institution or Father Christmas. The court will not say, come, let me entertain your case. No. It is the court that will sit down and the litigant will come and file their case. And that case will be adjudicated. So this is highly commendable. And I have been emphasizing this, please, and please. I'm very sure the moment you spread the gospel, these two courts will not be enough for Katsina State. So, which means that while doing the awareness, you must prepare yourself to have additional courts, because the kind of traffic that will come after the awareness, you won't be able to manage if there is no additional courts. So, thank you so much for listening, because you have simplified our work, because Katsina State is one of states that is leading as far as passing the disbursement linked indicators, are concerned. You have easier work. You have made us to do little in terms of the engagement, but now the ball is in your court. Having fished out this feedback, it is left for you to work on it and to ensure that everything is put in place in order to continue driving ease of doing business in Katsina State. Thank you for that. I don't know if there is any person from DLI that is working on DLI 8 that would like to ask any question. Please hand over the mic to.
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Ibrahim Buhari from Ministry of Justice. Mine is a suggestion and observation with respect to the jurisdiction of that monetary value of not more than 10 million that the small claim court can entertain. Considering the economic situation and the business parties that will be involved in it, I think it's better to increase that jurisdiction from 10 million to above, because sometimes a matter may arise involving such huge amount, more than 10 million, and the process that is supposed to be followed for amending that jurisdiction, it will take time, and that will negate the essence of that claim before that court. So the parties will suffer before the court. Irrespective of the above, I want the stakeholders involved to increase the jurisdiction from 10 million, considering the economic situation and the business that the parties will be involved. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Let me make comment on that. This is a very fundamental issue that he has raised. Yes, we had a discussion on this, on the monetary jurisdiction, and this has been the hue and cry as far as the users of the courts are concerned, because they say that looking at the economic value, the 10 million naira is somehow, meager, and they need the intervention of the stakeholders to increase the jurisdiction of the court to at least 15 or 20 million. We had a discussion around this with our development partners, the World Bank Group, as to suggesting in the increase of the jurisdiction of the courts, the financial threshold, from 10 million or to 15 million, with also without affecting, the participation of the states on DLI 8, what I mean is that let it not be issue of penalty whether the states exceeded the monetary threshold as defined by the World Bank or not, but what it requires is that it should be able to accommodate as much as it can, and also the court should be able to adjudicate these cases within the time frame provided by the practice direction. And another thing is that Katsina State, I also must commend the effort of Katsina State. Prior to the establishment of the court, the jurisdiction was not up to what we have now. Because of the leadership commitment, a law was passed to increase the jurisdiction of the court from what we had to what we currently have, so that the court can entertain as much as it's like within the time frame provided by the district court laws of Katsina State. So now, the ball is in your court, sir. You have heard them, and I'm very sure that this is a fundamental observation that needs to be taken seriously. In fact, in other states, some of them will split their claim in order to give the court the jurisdiction to entertain the case. Why? Because if it exceeds the monetary jurisdiction of the magistrate court or the small claims court, it will automatically go to the high court. And high court, you know the time you are stepping in, but you don't know the time you are coming out. That is the gospel truth. I've practiced for more than 8 years, and I know what is obtainable in terms of recovery of money is concerned at the high court, because you need to find a lot of processes. It is not as simple as small claims courts. That's why people go as far as splitting the claims to give the court jurisdiction. And some of them were actually unlucky to have caught up with the principle of res judicata. Only a lawyer can know, because if you split the two, when you split the two, and it happened in the same transaction, the defendants who knowingly know that the court does not have jurisdiction because the matter, let me give you an example, 15 million, then it's splitted into like 5 million, 3 million, 5 million in three stages to give the court jurisdiction. He will agree that, yes, I am owing this person 5 million, the court will enter consent judgment. Then when the other matter comes up, you will say that, no, this issue happened in the same transaction, the same evidence, the same witnesses. Therefore, since I have admitted the 5 million, then there is no way he can claim the remaining 10 million, which is 5 million. Why? The court is functioned official having decided this matter. And that is the law, and there is nothing you can do. There is nothing you can do. That 10 million naira is gone. So that's why what the person is saying here, the person who asked the question is saying is that increase the jurisdiction of the courts. Accommodate those that have a higher claim so that it will be, it will accommodate money like 15 million naira or at most 20 million naira, depending on what the court, what the state would like to have. And I'm very sure that once this is done, there will be influx of cases and the congestion of the docket of the High Courts. Thank you so much for that. Question? 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 No question? Thank you. Thank you for listening. I've done my part as far as the LI 8 is concerned. I think I deserve some round of applause, please. So I will hand over to MC Bahaushe. And I'm very sure that it's a familiar face to you. So, having said that, there is, yes, before I hand it over to him, the treating of the LI8 has made it the final thing as far as the DLIs are concerned. And the next item on our agenda, okay. Then there is BERAP, because there is need to inform you what stage are you on BERAP. On BERAP, yes. There is need for us to inform you what the BERAP is under eligibility criteria. Over to you, Dr.
Thank you once again. Please, let us give Katsina State a round of applause at least. This is because we have gone around various states, right? And we are currently going around the entire 36 states of the Federation. Some states will join virtually as a result of some logistical constraints, and some states we are going physically. And we have seen various compliance with various states. We have seen how organized some states are. So I must say Katsina State has remained tall in how organized they have been and in how much more they've complied. So I must appreciate Katsina State once again. For BERAP, the Business Enabling Reform Action Plan. That is, what are the various action plans around business enabling reforms for Katsina State? I believe this conversation had already been had. I know people from IRS, Ministry of Finance, and the rest are here. But what is expected for BERAP in year 3? 1 second. All right, thanks. So, of course, by now, we also have been able to, for 2026, we also have been able to download the 2026 BERAP from the state official website. And we know that is in process now. And we believe after that is signed, we'll be able to upload it. But however, we must ensure that the IT team that will be doing the upload, they can also work together with us. I know our indefatigable Alhaji Jikamshi has been so much in touch with us. Our support is to ensure that these things are done the right way and they are also done right. So we should be able to download 2026 BERAP. I believe that is already in process. And one of the things that we'll be confirming is that they will be able to confirm whether what you have published include certain parameters. What are those various parameters that must be included? List of the contributing entities, various entities that are contributing to that plan, summary of some of the private sector consultations that you have, the various actions and timelines that you have in your enabling reforms action plan, and as well, definition of responsible entities for the action. That is, if you have plan A, B, C, D, E, F in your enabling reform action plan, you should be able to link them to the entities that are responsible for those actions and the various targets. You know, it enables you monitor progress. They just want to see how do you intend to have a feed-forward control and perhaps a concurrent control in a way that you can be able to monitor the progress that you have. And importantly, the confirmation of the participation of the private sector in the published 2026 BERAP. That is, within your BERAP, there must be some level of consultations that must have been done by the private sector. So if you are saying that for your business enabling reform action plan, you have consulted and engaged with the private sector, we should be able to see the copies of the attendance sheets of those various meetings and as well the minutes of the various meetings, such that it shows that, okay, on this date, we have this meeting with maybe Manufacturing Association of Nigeria or, you know, Organized Private Sector or Employers Association, and this was the date, these were the people that were present. Also, we should be able to at least understand that the IVAs sometimes would be looking at the random samples of, they'll be taking some samples from the private sector you must have listed in those attendance sheets to confirm if truly they have attended those engagements and they have attended those consultations. Just to be sure that those attendance sheets were not cooked, or those attendance sheets were not false or falsified. So we should ensure that those attendance sheets are validated from our end. And also, they will be confirming if they participated in BERAP consultation process, just as I said. So the attendance sheets of the minutes must be, you know, part of the evidence to show that you engaged the private sector during your business enabling reforms, action plan. Also, they will be confirming that your BERAP has been approved by the State Executive Council by, showing evidence of the approval. So I know this is the stage we are now. I know currently we are at the stage of concluding approval of the, State Executive Council. So let us try as much as possible to ensure that the evidences are uploaded in conspicuous parts of our IPA website so that it can be accessible as quick as possible. Further, much more, we must be able to show our 2024 progress report on the official website, such that the BERAP in itself is not like as though we have ticked a box by having it. In 2024, we must be able to say, this is what we plan to do, our plans and our actuals. To say, for instance, in 2024, we plan to maybe engage maybe 300 miners on maybe one issue or the other. The question is, in 2024, how many did we actually do? That is the progress. We were able to do only 140 as a result of this. We were able to do only 145 as a result of this. So this year now, we should be able to at least have published our 2024 progress report. That is, what did we plan to do in those enabling action plan, and what exactly were we able to do in 2024? It's very, very important on this note. And also, this progress report would have certain components. What are the components? The status of each of the actions in the BERAP. That is, in the case that you do not produce your BERAP for the previous year, we want to see what were the milestones that you achieved and what were the things that you did not complete. Because they also know that we have a lot of constraints. We have regulatory constraints, we have financial or finance constraints, we have some other risks that various states are facing that might not enable them achieve certain milestones. So we want to say in 2024, these are the various milestones that we're able to achieve based on our plan. These were the ones that we were not able to achieve. And these were certain reasons that we were not able to achieve them. And how do we plan to overcome them maybe in the 2026 or 2025 action plan? I don't know if this is clear. So this is the various ways that, our BERAP is going to be verified. These are the various ways our BERAP requires some level of work, some level of validation. And in this regard, I'm sure we already know how the state budgets are to be, prepared. I'm very confident that Katsina state government already have, all of those compliance, and there are no issues. But as a result of, 2025, what are the things that we need to do? We need to reflect on the previous year. What did we do right? What did we not do right? And then we begin to also think of our plans for the upcoming year as well. So I don't know if there are any questions as it relates to BERAP. I know also for sure BERAP also has eligibility criteria on audited financial statements. There are also eligibility criteria on strengthening and transparent issues around debt management, and also very much more importantly around how debt is expected to be managed and planned over medium term and short term. So I know there might not be so much questions, but I don't know if Alhaji Jikamshi has some questions for us on BERAP. I know we've already established some relationship on that. So if there are any questions on BERAP, we can effectively proceed to the next presentations we might have around the ease of doing business report ranking. Any question on BERAP, sir? Any question? All right. So, Jafar, it seems there are no questions on BERAP now. So while we are taking our water, we have also another presentation. And, I must commend the distinguished guests seated here, because I hope we are not overloading you with information, because, technical sessions sometimes are like this. People just sit down and, you do presentation from morning till night. Sometimes you get fatigued, and I think that's why they are passing water around now, so that we can re-energize, and I believe afterwards we'll proceed to our lunch break, inshallah. But of course, before then, we have a couple more of presentation. But Jafar, I don't know if there are interludes before the presentations. All right, distinguished guests. We are getting to the conclusion of our morning technical session. But we cannot conclude this morning technical session without letting you know our next steps in terms of ease of doing business ranking, to understand what role we play as an organization, as PEBEC, and as well what we are going to be doing with the subnationals. And when I mean with the subnationals, it means that we are partners in progress, such that whatever reforms that are passed around or passed across at the federal level, if those reforms are not, deepened at the subnational, it means that there's a chance those reforms might fail. Because there's no single investment, there's no single $1 that is coming into Nigeria that does not go into one state or the other. So if any investor is bringing $10 million to Nigeria, yes, federal government might take some part of that money, maybe from taxes and issues of fees and levies. But most of those investments are domiciled in various states, either in Katsina state or in another state, as this case are. So for us, as an organization, as PEBEC, as a council, what do we do? And as well, what are our various expectations? What do you expect to see from us as a state government? What are the relationships that we believe are going to come forward? What are the various things that we are doing on ranking, especially on the ease of doing business in Nigeria? So overview of PEBEC. What do we do? Please, next slide. As part of our overview, what do we do? One of the important mandates that we have as a council is to deliver Nigerian business environment reforms by removing bureaucratic and legislative constraints on doing businesses in Nigeria. When we say removing legislative and bureaucratic constraints on doing business in Nigeria, is to say some businesses are around here in Nigeria that are finding it hard to proceed with their investments as a result of one legislation or the other, or as a result of one bureaucracy or the other, such that somebody can tell you, I want to register to get a land in Kano State, and maybe I need some federal approval to get a land to commence a business. And then they come and tell you the file is in the office of the director for like a month or two. Then later they tell you it's now with the secretary to the director. And then that can take another like 1 month. Then they tell you now the director has minuted it to the PAMSEC. That takes another like 4 months. Then they say the PAMSEC has taken it to the minister now. Don't worry, your file is now with the minister. Maybe that takes another 4 months. And then the process in itself of getting a land to commence an investment has taken like 1 year or two. Whether you like it or not, investors are now more deliberate about their choice. No investor, only maybe they feel like we have some comparative advantage over our neighbors. No investor would require to start a business. I have my money, 100 million. I want to start a business in the state. And they tell me the approval to get a land or to get my certificate of registration is going to take 1 year. That means I'll be here, I'll be paying some staff, I'll be buying some fuel, I'll be buying electricity and paying rent for 1 year without commencing the investment. So as an organization, we are saying it does not make sense that we have legislation and bureaucracy of this nature that can harm businesses, both the existing one and the new ones, because the existing business in Nigeria today are the lead promoter of the Nigerian business. So importantly, we want to remove any sort of legislation or any sort of bureaucracy that could affect businesses. And that is why, as PEBEC, based off the 67 MDAs that are under our purview, we have tried to say all of them publish their fees and their procedure online and their timelines. That is, if you want to register for a land, how many days is it going to take? If you are going to do verification, How many days is it going to take? And how much are you going to pay? Because how much are you going to pay has been one of the major issues in Nigeria. How much are you going to pay? In some agencies today, even in some ministries today, the cost of registering a certificate can be 500 naira. Today, as it stands in various states, 1,000 naira. But there's somebody sitting in one corner that will say, look, yeah, we know it's 1,000 on the books. But if you want this thing to move forward, you know now, do you think 1,000 can truly get it for? So you see, this kind of issues, this kind of malpractices are what we are trying to remove. And so therefore, we're able to build what we call reportgov.ng, such that anybody that goes to any office and they're asking them to pay something that is different from what is online, a procedure that is different from what is online, a timeline that is different from what is online, can report to PEBEC. And we can escalate that immediately. Say, look, your SLA is saying that, why is this one taking 10 days? Because this person has reported. So if this is done across the various business-facing MDAs, what that means is that we must have removed any issue of bureaucracy there, or any issue of legislation that can harm business. And more importantly, to improve the perception of ease of doing businesses in Nigeria among Committee of Nations. I know for sure we have a good number of people here that must have either traveled overseas or that have met people that have done businesses in Nigeria. And there's this perception that normally rings whenever anybody wants to do anything now. Maybe you want to register for a driver's license. Somebody can tell you, you know now, all those ones that they are telling you is just, there's somebody I will show you. And whether you like it or not, that in itself is damaging the perception of how easy it is to do business in Nigeria. Because somebody believes that if I need a driver's license, and they say it's going to take 28 days, I don't need to worry. I go there, I know it's 28 days, I do it and it's over. I don't need to worry that I need to know somebody that knows somebody before I can get a license to drive. Not the car. It's not like you are buying the car for me. It's just the license that I'll use to drive it. And you're making a whole lot out of it. So, that removal of those bottlenecks and improving the perception of how easy it is to do business is our important mandate as a council. The next slide. So how are we composed? Our council is chaired today by the Vice President of Nigeria, His Excellency, Senator Kashim Shettima. Of course, we have a couple of other high-ranking members of the government that are sitting on our council. The Secretary to the Government of the Federation, SGF, Head of Civil Service. We have about 18 honorable ministers, governors of the Central Bank of Nigeria on our council, National Assembly representative, Judiciary representative. We have the state government representative, and as well, our Director General is Princess Zara Mustafa Audu. We are created in 2016, and since then, we have been able to implement and still implementing about the 180 reforms on the various regulations that we have in Nigeria, such that we can build stability in how businesses are done in Nigeria. Today, one of the important components of our reform is the regulatory impact analysis and assessment. Just to say, as an MDA, let's say CAC or FIRS, you cannot release a new regulation on how you want to collect certain fees without coming to us first. Without telling us that you have truly gone through stakeholder engagement. Because it is easy for, let's say, AEDC now, for instance, is a private entity. I'm just using that instance. To say, I'm moving you from band B to band A without any justification. It might look easy for the CAC to say, the cost of registering a business last week is 20,000. And this week we are increasing it to 60,000. No, we are saying you should not do that without engaging with the people that are going to pay. Let them be aware. Let them be ready for it. Let them agree on the timeline and whatever negotiation through us, so that we can be sure that people will not see Nigeria as an unstable place to do business. Because people will just say, if you start business in this place now, and you have already mapped out how much it's going to cost you to do business for a year, it can change within the year because of one agency's regulation change. And that has happened and sent a lot of businesses out of Nigeria, out of other countries. Because today, a business agency just wake up and say, we want to start charging people for certain certificates by virtue of our law or by virtue of our new regulation. And people begin to say, this is a replication of what we are paying in another agency. So you see, there are different agencies of government that might be charging businesses for doing the same thing, for carrying out the same test. These are some of the work that we are doing as PEBEC, and of course our third cohort was inaugurated in November 2023. Please, next slide. How do we do our work? Our work cannot be easy without collaboration with the judiciary and the legislature. No matter how much you want to push reforms, if you do not have solid buy-in, solid collaboration from the National Assembly or from the judiciary, that will be in futility. If you also look further into the government tiers, that is why we are here, for instance, in Katsina State, to say, no matter how much the reforms you are pushing at the federal level, if it is not in sync with what is being done at the state level, at the subnational, it's usually not going to be deep-rooted or penetrated into certain farmers that are in Faskari, or farmers that are in maybe Mani, or farmers that are in Katsina City. You know, people that are doing various businesses in the various rural and urban centers. If those reforms are not aligned with what is happening at the subnational level, then of course development partners and diplomatic corps, civil society groups, and the private sector. So the private sector, the existing businesses, we believe, are the lead marketers of the Nigerian business environment. If you want to attract investment into Nigeria, then try as much as possible to work well with the ones that are here. It's easy for us to go to China and Indonesia and United Nations General Assembly and ask investors to come. The investors that are coming, they have some of their friends here. They have some of their colleagues here that they will make a call to. Yeah, I'm thinking of bringing a business to Nigeria. What do you think? Comfortably, I can say there are a lot of businesses that has been lost just as a result of just one phone call. One phone call. I want to do business in Nigeria. I'm considering doing it in Nigeria or Cote d'Ivoire. Tell me, how is it? How can I register? How long is it going to take me? The moment you ask anyone that how long is it going to take me to register a business in Nigeria, and somebody cannot give you a definitive answer, that means there's a problem. They cannot tell you it's going to take us 2 days, and it's 2 days. They can't tell you it's going to take us 3 days, and it's 3 days. Then people will be doing business with uncertainty. Say, okay, let's see. They say when the minister comes back, the minister just traveled he went to Hajj, or he has gone to Jerusalem. So therefore, no applications will proceed. Or the minister is not feeling fine. So therefore, no application will proceed. Or the head of an agency is not in good mood for 2 weeks. So no application will proceed. So those are the various issues that PEBEC is looking at. And we have provided a platform, reportgov.ng, where people can be able to provide this feedback. Next slide. So, of course, this is how our work stream in PEBEC is designed. We have a regulatory work stream that works on the various laws and regulations and policies of government, and we try to look at which ones are overlapping. Because, without any doubt, we have a lot of overlapping regulations, overlapping laws, such that you can come into a particular scenario and you see two agencies of government fighting. Two agencies of government fighting that I'm the one that's supposed to be here. The other person say, no, my oga say, now we supposed to be here. Why? It is because the regulation or the enacting laws that created the two of them has overlapped. So that means that none of them is actually wrong, but the regulations are wrong. That is, two people have been mandated by law to do similar activities. So that is why we are also looking at those various things to say, if you have similar activities, then one person needs to cede what is secondary to him. Because for every agencies and MDAs, they have primary responsibility and they have one that is secondary. So if an activity is secondary and is overlapping, let it go. Then we can now begin to see collaborations we can have with the National Assembly to how to amend their laws. So our intention is to ensure that we are not having unnecessary fight between two agencies of government, because it's a one government approach. There was a case in an international court recently. I will not mention the two agencies. One agency, one private sector took an agency to court and then called another agency of government to come and testify against the other one. So you can see how, just like for instance, IRS, maybe a client in Katsina State has taken IRS to court. And the IRS has now called Urban and Regional Planning to come and testify against IRS in court. You see, that is a lost case already, because it is to say the government is against the government. So we are trying to see how this regulation itself that are overlapping can be further improved. Also legislative and judicial reforms to look at issues around judiciary and how this can further be improved. Looking at strategic communication and stakeholder engagement to ensure we continuously communicate and engage our stakeholders on our work, on how we can improve and how the MDAs that are under our purview can further also improve. Innovation and technology, which are managing our platforms and are improving them by the day. We have the sub-nationalities of doing business reforms, which of course I'm also a part of personally. And then we have the high impact investment, which I'm also a part of. We look at investments in Nigeria that we want to attract in certain areas like renewable energy, agriculture, IT and ICT, and fiber optics, fiber cable, and these new things, artificial intelligence, that might be facing some constraints in Nigeria. So this is how our work stream is subdivided. But for the purpose of our engagement today, the sub-national work stream are trying to ensure that how can we deepen our relationship with the sub-national? How can we ensure that our relationship with Katsina State, with Kano State, with Kaduna State, Jigawa State, how can we ensure our relationship with these various states are so solid such that we can drive reforms together? That is, if you are saying this is a good reform from the federal, how can we ensure they are deepened at the sub-national level as well? Next slide. Next slide. So our ease of doing business reforms, next slide please, are subdivided into 3 different work streams. At the subnational work stream that we have in PEBEC, we have the subnational EODB structure and engagement. We have the annual subnational EODB ranking report, which we believe annually we should be doing ranking of subnationals based on how easy it is to do business in those various states. That is, in Katsina State, based on the feedback from the private sector, how easy it is for an investor to do business in Katsina State. And of course, we have the SABER program. So today, we are trying to use a stone to kill about 2, 3, 4 birds. And we believe that, inshallah, we'll be successful. So, the next slide. So, the subnational structure, our engagement around the ease of doing business, number 1 is to ensure that we reconstitute or constitute subnational ease of doing business council. As it stands today, some state does not still have ease of doing business council. I know Katsina State have. So how can we ensure that that ease of doing business council is strengthened and improved? If there's any technical, support, technical assistance that is required from PEBEC, such that we can collaborate together to see the reforms that we are pushing, especially on ease of doing business. It's not nice that PEBEC is doing something different from what Katsina State is doing, because it's one government as a whole. So we can try to see how we can synergize to ensure that we are aligned. Appointment of state reform champions or reappointment of same. I know that some states also do not have a reform champion. Some states has, a different reform champion. Some states has not communicated officially the reform champions that they are supposed to have. So part of our engagement is to ensure that the state, we are seeing how we can see the people who are championing reforms in the state, who we can align with on what is going on, what are the feedbacks, and what sort of support you need for us, especially on ease of doing business. Why? Because part of our mandate is to ensure we improve the perception of ease of doing business in Nigeria. And we cannot do that without Katsina State. If you want to do it from Abuja, you are designing some parameters and you are providing some reports. In isolation of the state where the business will be domiciled, it means that we are a little far away from reality itself. So we are trying to ensure how can this be further improved. Domestication of key ease of doing business legislation, like the Business Facilitation Act. I'm sure most of our business-facing MDAs that are currently here must have gone through the Nigerian Business Facilitation Act, at least some extract of it. Because the Business Facilitation Act is somewhat, to a large extent, related to some of the deliverables that are embedded in SABR. Like transparency of government, like SLA, service level agreement, like one government approach, like efficiency in ports and in customs. Even though ports and customs is not part of SABR. But these are some of the acts that has been passed by the federal government that we believe can also be strengthened within the state to ensure business are facilitated and ease of doing business can be improved. Of course, technical working committee formation around ease of doing business, around business support, around investment promotion, that we are happy to engage with. You can call us anytime that you want us to engage on this issue, on that issue, on this issue that you need to propose for the state. We are always very much happy to provide some of this technical support and assistance. So how are we doing our engagement with the private sector? How do we ensure that the private sector are engaged? Because it's part of our work. Number one is to see the tours around 36 states of the Federation. We have now made commitment to ensure this is done every year, such that every year between May and June, we go around various states to engage with organized private sector, with the Manufacturing Association of Nigeria, with NECA, with Telecoms Association, with Farmers Association like Nakotan, MAN, Magma Pan, and I mean like even Refund. Some of these associations that are, deep-rooted, that can tell us what are the issues they are facing in terms of overlapping regulations, in terms of transparency of how businesses are done, and in terms of, SLAs and commitments of government to them. Technical workshops for heads of IPAs, I think this has been done earlier, I think this year. And we want to see how we can further ensure that the investment promotion agencies of various states are engaged in some technical workshops, especially on issues of investment promotion, on issues of supporting investment, on issues of following up with the plans that you have made for investors, on ensuring that you have incentive inventories, right? On ensuring that you have some level of synergy with what you are announcing and what people are enjoying from your announcement. So these are various ways that we are engaging the private sector. And we also have some important events that are going to be happening in the later course of the year out of Nigeria, whereby we can plug in states, we can plug in private sector investment to investors that are ready for investment, such that perhaps we have a vetting process for investors across maybe Indonesia or China or America, and then we bring in the state government. The state government can tell you, I need investment in agriculture, I need investment in renewable energy, I need investment in, let's say, defense. And then we are saying as PEBEC, let us look for these investors and let us invite you to meet them. Let them explain what they have to you. You explain what you need to them. And maybe you can now have MOUs and letters of intent, such that when we are having any engagement out of Nigeria, it is beyond attendances and photo ops, so that we can make some productive usage out of them. The next slide, please. Next slide. And of course, the subnational list of doing business reports is expected in 2025, whereby we are going to be ranking states based on how easy it is to do business across them. That is, in Katsina State, we'll say, out of 36 states, this is what Katsina State has ranked. This has been done previously. It was done in 2021, it was done in 2023, and we are having another one in 2025. And this is part of the team that personally I would also be looking over to ensure that we get reliable data, we feed in reliable data, and we are able to rank various states based on how easy they have proven for businesses to scale or to, succeed within them. So what are the various ways we are using to do this one? We are trying to benchmark this progress based on indicators that has been created before. We are not trying to reinvent the wheel. We are only trying to ensure that, we improve the methodology upon which the data has been collected. So the next slide. The next slide is just looking at what are the various highlights that we are expecting in the 2025 Ease of Doing Business ranking reports. Number one, we want to be able to showcase the top 10 states to do businesses in Nigeria based on Ease of Doing Business reports. Why? Because if you have 36 states of the Federation, for instance, and you are telling the world, you are telling the global investment community that a state is ranking 36. What you are telling the investors is that don't go to this state. If you can tell an investor that out of 36 states in Nigeria, this particular state is ranking 36, automatically by yourself, you are using your hand to demarcate your own state. To say, this state is not easy to do business there. So we are saying no. That is a demarketing, approach. So how can we further improve this? Number one, we want to highlight the top 10 states where it is easiest to do business, such that we can say in Nigeria, these are the top 10. Where we say, if you go and do business, you can comfortably have some rest of mind around transparency of fees. You don't have to pay somebody for any approval of certificate. You don't have to worry about infrastructure. You don't have to worry about certain electricity and certain labor availability within the state. So, we are also going to be looking at the 5 most improved states. The fact that a state is not top 10 does not mean that the state has not improved. For instance, a state might be ranking 34. But a state that ranked 34 in 2024 or 2023, that now ranks, let's say 20. From 34 to 20, that is taking about 14 steps further. That means you have improved tremendously in how easy it is to do business in those various states. So what that means is that we are going to be showcasing the 5 most improved states, and we are going to be also providing a snapshot of the various trends that you can find in any state. To say, Katsina State, if you go to Katsina State, you'll be able to do agriculture, you'll be able to succeed in renewable energy because of their interest, you'll be able to succeed in this kind of mineral mining, and and so on and so forth. So these are the various ways that we are trying to see how we can provide an improvement to what has been done previously. The next slide, please. So what are the various indicators that we are going to be putting to business community to say, based on these parameters, please help us rank Katsina State, help us rank Kano State, help us rank Ebonyi State, Enugu State, and all 36 states of the Federation, inclusive of the FCT. So, the first parameter or indicator is infrastructure. Most businesses will not thrive or cannot thrive without certain infrastructure in place. Today, we know in some states, in some areas, investors have to buy their own transformer. Investors have to build their own roads that leads to their factory. So, in an environment, investor has to buy his own transformer, has to buy his own cable, and when they buy the transformer and cable, they will now say it's no longer their property. So somebody has gone to Lagos or China to buy a transformer, maybe like 50 million, and has bought cables and power cables that he's going to use to power his estate or his industrial estate. And then he will hand it over to you, and then you say he should not even go inside the transformer without calling you. He bought it with his money. So the question is, perhaps this might be part of regulations. But we are saying that part of the ways that the business community will be ranking the states are, number one, on issue of infrastructure. Electricity, how easy it is. transportation, logistics on interstate trade, how easy it is to move goods from one state to another. So that means the person that might be ranking Katsina State on interstate movement might not necessarily be a business in Katsina State, but a business that has passed through Katsina State in the course of doing their business. How easy it is to move goods from Kano through Katsina to another state. Digital connectivity and internet. Because now we are in a digital age, most of the businesses now are moving online, on Instagram, on Facebook, on Twitter. Even I heard it earlier that even the government offices are also using Facebook as a platform to get feedback, right? So it means that business community are moving online. And they cannot do this effectively if in their area of business, you don't even have 2G network. They don't have a strong 3G network. They don't have a strong 4G network, not to talk of a 5G. So business community will rate based on internet, based on environmental sustainability, and as well transparency and accessibility of information. They will rank based on how is the IPA promoting investment in the state, how are they able to access key informations on key regulatory. And you see earlier, we say at least 5 of your MDAs should have 2 of their core processes published, such that anybody that wants to invest in the state that needs the service of a water board, right, can go to water board website and know if you need water to be connected to your factory, you must do A, B, C, D, E, F. You must pay A, B, C, and it will take this time. You see, that way, they are able to access information without having to walk in to the ministry and meet maybe a middleman that will say, don't worry, I'll talk to the director for you, my uncle. We are trying to say there should be some level of transparency in how information are accessed. Then the next component of it is skills and labor, such that what is the investment of the subnational leadership in education for labor that are required for the industries, such that if I want to set up, for instance, there was a question to Dangote, who has built a refinery but need to import some welders, need to bring in some welders to do business. I mean, to help them manage some welding activities in the refinery. You know, that could raise some questions like, you mean welders? We need to bring in welders from India, like welders. So the question is, if I need to set up a business here, can I have access to labor here for that kind of activity? I want to manufacture textile. Can I have somebody that can operate the machine without having to bring them in from Bangladesh? Right? So the same thing with workforce development and social infrastructure. How is the government building the workforce to be ready for investment? Because sometimes you want investment, but we are not ready for it. Right? Like somebody that wants a job. You have been praying to God, you have been going to the mosque, you have been going to the church to pray for a job. But when the job came, you say you are not computer literate. Then, who is going to do this job? You have been praying for this job, but you have not been preparing yourself for the job. So while we are looking for investment, we must begin to prepare our labor force to be able to plug in into that investment. Because, for instance, if an artificial intelligence enterprise wants to establish in Katsina State, for instance, can they today have access to AI engineers, Scrum masters, and then website front-end, back-end developer without having to bring them from, Lagos, or without having to bring them from the FCT or Kaduna? So these are how we monitor how the labor force are being built and developed within the state. Then security and safety. How safe and how secure it is to do business in the various states. Investors are deliberate about their choice. There's no single investor that will put $1 of his money where he knows tomorrow he can go away. So how safe and how easy. We also know some of these are not within the entire control, purview of the state. But to a large extent, how easy it is to do business within the state based on this parameter. Regulatory environment. If you need to register your business, maybe with the Katsina State Internal Revenue Service, how easy it is. If I want to renew my license, how easy it is in the various ministries. These are what the business community will be providing feedback from. So if I want to renew my license, is online. I don't have to go there. I just log in and pay, and boom, it's done. Within 2 days, within 3 days, right? And then land and property acquisition. How easy it is to access land. Because most businesses that are coming in, they need land. Maybe you want to do agriculture, and you need, let's say, 200 hectares of land, and you need the allocation. Is that allocation going to take you 2 years? You know, farming is a seasonal activity, right? Anyone that wants to cultivate rice in the wet season must have started maybe planting now, or preparation of the land now. Otherwise, there's no rain that will germinate that rice, only if you have maybe solid irrigation facilities, right? So the question is, in this climb, how easy it is for me to access a land if I want to invest in this state? So these are some of the feedback that the investors are going to be giving us on the state. And we have designed questionnaires that are robust for them to provide this feedback on how easy it is to do business across all the 36 states of the Federation. And then we'll now use these parameters, these indicators as sub-indicators to rank each state. Then, economic opportunities, getting credits, market access and competition. What are the various opportunities in this state? Like the IPA, for instance. I know for sure the IPA already has inventories of incentives, right? Some of these, some people would ask that, but interest rate is a federal central banking issue. What's it called? Getting credit is a bank issue. No, we are not saying you should give them the credit. We are saying, what are the support that you are providing to link people that need those credits with the people that can provide it? You don't even need to negotiate it. Some farmers today, they have the capacity, they have the ability to farm, but maybe they don't have a tractor. What support is the Ministry of Agri, for instance, doing for those group of farmers to ensure, maybe if they group themselves in hundreds, they can have access to maybe 2 tractors, maybe a plower, maybe an harvester, such that you have linked them to the credit that they might necessarily need for their business. Because credit in itself can be money, can be manpower, can be, other resources that are not necessarily monetary. So the next component of that is to say, what is the market access and what are the market opportunities? For instance, if you want to build a rice mill in Katsina State, a big rice mill, you must begin to think, where will I get the paddies from? Right? If you build a rice mill without paddy, it will maybe be milling something else. It might not necessarily mill rice because there's no rice. So the question is, what are those access to the market? That is, for the farmers, are you connecting the farmers to certain aggregators that can take up what they have, harvested? Because one of the major problems that farmers face in agriculture is post-harvest losses, especially the smallholder farmers. Post-harvest losses such that they cannot necessarily store their paddy for so long. Some are able to store their maize, but maybe not sophisticated enough. But if there are opportunities where you can link them to the market, such that even, I know some organizations, I might not want to mention their names, because of course in the last 5 years, I've also done some work with farmers in Katsina State, in various parts of Katsina, with farmers that are, cultivating rice and maize, and, a couple of other products like sorghum. So the question is, what are the relationship between the market and as well the people that are producing? Is there a linkage between them? The next slide, please. The next slide. I'm sorry I've taken your time. I believe not so long. We'll go for prayers, inshallah. So how are we going to get this data? Reliability of data is important. A lot of times, even researchers, because for me, I teach in the university, and I have seen a lot of data that when you look at it, you just know, young man, where do you get this data from? He just maybe sit down in his room and is just cooking some data. I remember like about 3 years ago, there was an enumerator that was supposed to collect some agricultural data. You know, agricultural data are very important, especially when you want to measure yield of farmers. You want to know what is their yield, and you want to know what they are supposed to get and what did they get. It's something that must be very sensitively collected. Then this guy is staying in Kano. He's supposed to collect data in Duse, which is just about 2 hours. They have paid him transport, they have paid him allowances. Go and collect the data of a farmer's yield, about 20 farmers, so that we can get the average of their yields. And then we just saw some yields. You see some yield, 10 metric tons per hectare, 15 metric tons per hectare. Like, this is very big. Oh. If a farmer is making 15 metric tons per 1 hectare, what kind of variety? Then we now begin to look at the extra component of the data to say, let us look, where did he collect this data from? The data collection, he does not know it has been GPS embedded. He was collecting the data in his room. He did not go to the farm. In his room, he was just putting the farmer's name. He was putting yield as he pleases. And the question here is, that has actually ended the career of some farmers. Because for insurance will not pay you if you have made more than the yield you are supposed to make. So any farmer that has suffered losses as a result of that data will not be compensated. So what that means is that data collection is very, very important and must not be toyed with. That is why we have developed some framework, methodology on how we are going to collect this data. Number one, we are going to be having field visits by our dedicated teams across the Federation to visit, just like we are visiting now. We collect some questionnaires from the organized private sector. We are going to be having structured interviews such that we look at industry leaders in agric, in renewable energy, in electricity, in mining, in construction, in agriculture. We look at the industry leaders and the small businesses as well to engage with them on issue of infrastructure in Katsina State, on issue of access to market in Katsina State, on issue of availability of labor in Katsina State, on issue of safety, and then we begin to rank. After collecting that, we also do focus group discussions such that we can have targeted groups to say, what are the peculiarity of your problem within this sector, within this subsector, within this industry. And as well, more importantly, we are going to be sharing out surveys and questionnaires for people to fill. And these surveys and questionnaires, we try as much as possible that it does not get into the wrong hands. Because sometimes, if the wrong person is filling the right questionnaire, the feedback you get is still wrong. Because somebody who does not do any business, but we have given him the link for the questionnaire, and he's just filling it as he likes. What that means is that that is going to affect the credibility of the outcome of the data. So we have tried to put in some checks, some back checks to ensure that the data that we are collecting to a very large extent is reliable and can depict or represent the true position of every state on the ease of doing business ranking in Nigeria. The next slide. So this is the framework on how we intend to go about our activity. In this third quarter, which we are moving into now, we are going to be collecting data. It's going to be led by us. And then from September, we are going to give every state the right of response to say, you have ranked number 15. What do you think? Such that we can provide or we can get some feedbacks from the state. And much more importantly, at the end of the year, we believe we are going to be launching the 2025 Subnational Ease of Doing Business Ranking Report by the end of Q4 2025. Next slide. So these metrics are weighted, and of course, the total score point is around 100. So each of the indicators and sub-indicators have different weights, right? Because maybe electricity, energy mix for all businesses will rank more to them than internet connectivity. Because somebody will say, how will you rank internet connectivity ahead of energy? So that means we cannot give the same weight that we are giving maybe internet to electricity. We cannot give the same weight that we are giving maybe access to information to infrastructure around roads and, and accessibility to get land. So this ranking is what we are going to score across the various 6 indicators. The next slide. So why does this matter? This ranking, why do we even need to rank at all? What is the importance of ranking? Some persons can say this ranking does not mean anything to us. But we are saying, why this matter is number 1, it supports the presidential drive, the agenda of the president to drive investment. And because we also know for sure, the state government are the front line of service delivery. No matter what you are doing, I can see, profound leadership of the Nigerian Immigration Service here, right? From the federal government, looking at what they can plug in, what they can take in for the state. That is, no matter how, no matter what reform that you are pushing from the federal government, the states are the front line of that delivery. So, it is important that this ranking, and importantly, it somewhat spotlights what the leadership of the state is doing. Right? So, that way we are able to see this state, the leaders maybe have not paid some attention to this one. It does not mean the state is not paying attention to other things. Just that, every state has their own priorities as it stands today. So what we are trying to say is, how can we ensure that these priorities are aligned, especially when it comes to ease of doing business in Nigeria? The next slide. So we believe this, our engagement, will try as much as possible to ensure it is done annually. So thank you, Katsina State, firstly for giving me a wife, alhamdulillah, and also for hosting us here today. And so please, we know for sure you might also be hosting us again within the year, depending on what technical support you might be needing. But importantly, next year, May, June, we are also planning to come back here to see the progress we have made again on what we have discussed today on SABA, on maybe ease of doing business reports ranking, on the areas of improvement, areas of support, and what we can further do to support the Katsina State government, especially in implementing some of these reforms that can be penetrated to the subnational government. So we are going to be engaging with the private sector to gather feedback. We are going to be having technical sessions. As I said before, for SABA, all of the conversations we have today cannot resolve SABA. For SABA, all of the conversations we have today cannot resolve it. So we need continuous engagement. That is why I said the focal persons for all of the DLIs, we are happy to get all their contacts. Please, Jafar. The focal persons for all the DLIs, let's get their contacts today, their emails, their phone numbers, such that subsequently, because for me, the important component of SABA for me is not just to name, is to say that Katsina State has complied and is able to access certain funding. The next slide, please. So, we have been passing around some sheet of papers for questioning. We might not be able to attend to all of the questions. Some of the questions will respond through the MDAs in Katsina State, and some we are going to be relating to you directly to your emails. We are going to try as much as possible to provide comprehensive reports as much as possible. Next slide, please. The next slide. Next slide. Okay, so there's a saying that agrees that if we keep on doing what we've always done, we will keep on being what we've always been. Which means that nothing is going to change unless we are deliberate to change them. So, what it means is that it is easy to sit down for people to make presentations, very beautiful slides, and talk beautifully, but it should not end there. It should move into reform actions. It should move into implementation. We should move into compliance. We should move to ensuring that our ease of doing business ranking is the best among the best, inshallah. So thank you once again for listening. I really appreciate your time, and I wish you the best of the rest of the day.
Thank you so much, Dr. Bello Adewale. I'm very sure that his presentation is a testament of my previous statement when I said that he loves sharing knowledge And I'm very sure that you have understood what PEBEC is and the composition of PEBEC and what PEBEC does, the reforms initiatives PEBEC have been implementing in collaboration with other MDs and also subnational government in Nigeria. Thank you so much, Dr. Bello Adewale, for that presentation on the ease of doing business ranking. This is the last presentation as far as the technical session is concerned. I'm very sure that the participants are well equipped with all the DLIs and also the eligibility criteria. There's the BERA, Business Enabling Reform Action Plan, and also the ease of doing business ranking that has taken a new dimension as opposed to the previous style metrics that we use in assessing the state in terms of ease of doing business. So at this juncture, I would like to invite our host to give us the closing remarks in person of the Director General, Katsina State Investment Promotion Agency, Alhaji Ibrahim Tukur Jikamshi. Please give a round of applause, please. No, you are too economical, please. I'm very sure that you have eaten and you gather enough energy to give him a resounding round of applause. Please give him a round of applause. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Malam Japaru Shaibu, an official of Presidential Enabling Business Environment Council. Let me, by way of commenting and then closing this session, to appreciate our resource person who all the way come from Fairbank Secretariat, and they have been touring nationwide too. They are covering the entire northwestern zone. Malam Bello, we appreciate you honestly. We have given you wives, so you are just paying part of your dues. Malam Bello, we have given you wives, so you are paying part of your dues here. Yes, thank you so much. Rebecca Mungodi, so say, we appreciate you very well as Malam Japar, who has been with us, including Mr. Bukumi that have not spoken. You can stand up so that people can see you. Mr. Bukumi Abola, thank you so much. My dear participants, especially the reform champions of the various agencies, let me say thank you too. Let me assure the members of Presidential Enabling Business Environment Council that we have noted your comments, your lectures. We have been on them for quite some time. For Katsina State to be able to deepen the reform process, we have even established working committees, working groups around each DLI. And like I have said earlier on, at this training, you can see that it's not only those that are on those DLI, including others that are not on this DLI. Additionally, you can see even some uniform people that are already on the board of the Ease of Doing Business Council. Whatever we do it holistics to make sure we defend the reform champion. We are not unaware of the fact that ranking right by the arm of the World Bank, and that is the World Bank Group, is to make sure they have assist nationals in terms of flow of resources, critical resources for development. Why? Because critical resources goes where it is easier to do whatever undertaking there. What are those critical resources? I always tell my groups that, look, critical resources are one, funds, skills, cutting edge knowledge, and technology. And these are the backbone for any development. So certainly Katsina wants that. Nobody will develop in isolation. We don't want to be in autarky. We have challenges, of course. Katsina is facing challenges in terms of landmass. We are number 17 in Nigeria, but we are number 3 in terms of population. We have a very high number of population. Our fixed factor of production is land. From the north, we are having challenges of desertification. So certainly combination of desertification is quite difficult, and it degrades lands. So in terms of productivity, it goes down, except when you have a critical skills and knowledge, and at the same time technology, to be able to say, look, this space of land that has been giving me 1 tons, if it is a hectare, or 3 tons, now, because of the challenges that is associated with their population, with their competition, competitiveness around, it has to give you more output than hitherto it was being, because you have more number of population, you have number of mouths to feed. Yeah, that's all right. What we may be doing for you is to inform you, the FEBEC, that we will improve the way we are crafting and drafting and implementing of our BRAP in Katsina State. We will, starting from this year, because we have told you yesterday when we were in a meeting that we are not only doing the reforms in Katsina State just to get the reward of the saver, which is equally a loan, but to entrench and integrate the reform that we have already started with saver and integrate them with the entire governance structure of Katsina State. That's what we are doing, obviously. So we'll make sure that it is sustainable and embedded into the system. And that is why the Katsina State government, who has a public sector reform department. Now, for the export, I think it will be heartwarming for you to note that we have already engaged NEPC. They are here, and they have been coming to. We have started doing some capacity building around the exporters of Katsina State. Early this year, we did one, and we have already identified about 11 competent and able exporters that we will promote alongside with NEPC. For the ease of doing business ranking, we'll continue to participate to improve and then bring ourselves into the public domain, so people to be able to understand and appreciate. Yeah, there is need for that robust communication with private sector, with the public, with the citizens, and engagement, and we have to continue to do that, especially around the reforms, not only the reforms, even the small claim courts too, that Malan Jafar has mentioned. We are establishing one now in the market, Katsina market, a small claim court. That is, we are now taking the small claim court to the door of the of the commercial center of Katsina State. We are also going to establish one in Fontua and Daura to give it more impetus, so that we realize the objective with which the small claims court are established. Gentlemen, what we will be doing in our BRAP, like I have said, will integrate NEPC, Standard Organization of Nigeria, NABDAC, SMEDAN, and the rest of them, so that and including the Federal Inland Revenue Services. With this note, I would like to say thank you so much, but most importantly is your take for the payback is you can see the involvement of a higher top senior officials of the government in all we do. The last time we met, you have seen all the commissioners. Even now, we have about 4 commissioners around that are here. Let me introduce the Honorable Commissioner, Commerce, Industry and Tourism. Honorable Commissioner, sir, can you stand up for recognition so that people should recognize you? Then next team is my Oga, Honorable Commissioner for Information. Honorable Commissioner for Information, you are welcome. Thank you so much. And then my brother, the Permanent Secretary, Minister of Commerce, Mala Ahmed Mashi, and the General Manager, Urban and Regional Development Board, URPB, is also here. Thank you so much. So, gentlemen, we will break here, take more lunch if it is available, pray, come back for the next session. We expect that we'll resume next session by 1:30. His Excellency, the Governor, is going to be around. And he would like to see the technical persons that are here, as well as the private sector that we have so invited earlier on. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you.
Thank you so much, our hosts. At this juncture, may I introduce my co-MC, who is going to take over from me from now till the end of the session, that's the afternoon session. It is my pleasure to invite Kabiru Saidu Bahaushe in person of, that's his nickname is MC Bahaushe.
All right, thank you. Jafar Shaibu, our Reform Leader of the Day. We look alike. He's a Fulani by tribe, but I'm not. But we look in the color of our shades today. Thank you for having me. The Honorable Commissioner, Ministry of Commerce, Honorable Yusuf Raif Wujurede, Honorable Commissioner, Ministry of Information, Katsina State, Alhaji Ibrahim Tukur Jikamshi, DG KIPA, the Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Commerce, Industry and Tourism, Alhaji Ahmad Hassan Mashi, DG URPB, NASI Chairman, all other representative, critical stakeholders, ladies and gentlemen, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. It was while, and I can say we are going to make a simple wrap by the DG comment. He made a holistic remarks regarding all the presentations made today. So we can appreciate less Jafar Shaibu, Dr. Bello Adewale, Mrs. Rebecca Upfevu, Ambukumi Abula. Thank you all for a kind of presentation. And this is more than a technical, it's a pro-technical. So I got missing the first 4 pages I was missing. So I can't recall the technical word that you have been used. You know, today's event is proudly supported by the Presidential Enabling Business Environment Council, FEBEC, also the Debt Management Office, and the Ministry of Finance, the Nigerian Governors Forum, and our partners from the World Bank. It is worth crucial step in posterior reforms that make it easier to do business across our state. This is more than a meeting, it is a platform for a collaboration, feedback, and actions. So I can see together we can explore some policies, discuss some challenges, and co-create solutions that will enable stronger and more sustainable economic growth. So before going to the short break to pray, I would like to move to a last item of the session, which is going to be a photo session with the top government officials and PEBEC officials. Please, can you join us here for a proper photo session? And it will take us 3 minutes, inshallah, with this. PEBEC officials, please. And the Honorable Commissioner, Ministry of Information, Honorable Commissioner of Commerce, DG KIPA, DG URPB, known as KUPDA. I like the word KUPDA, not Urban and Regional Planning Board, TPL Abbas. So our photographer, you have all it takes for a direction. So the lady must be in the center. The sea goes tick. Are we smiling? Okay, sir. Okay, yeah. And the last of it, everybody must join us here before going to the break. Please step ahead for this. All the participants, please join us. All the participants. Thank you. From all the sides. So now the photographers are to give some directions. That's how someone that's Anna. So some of us will be at the upper, at the stage. Okay, it's okay like this. Please join us all. Our esteemed participant, can you join us for a photo session? We want able blessed person to be coming out. So please grace the stage for a photo session. It's for all. This is for all. All the participants. Join us, please. And we have Alhaji here in a Maiduguri style. Thank you for being here. We have some space down there. Okay. All right, I think it is okay. You know? All right, thank you. So